We're live. Let me go to YouTube. All right, this stream is... Wait for it. All right, the stream is live. I have to figure out a way to... we're going to have to work at a Zoom at one point. Not today, but... Okay, that's live. I'm going to go post all the shit. There.
I'm going to do exactly the same.
Nice.
This better not, like, feedback through my thing. Oh, there we go.
See, I'm just going to get a bunch of notifications. Oh, God, it's dick pills.
Yeah, I got your email. I hacked it.
All right, that's...
Okay. Shut that before I hear myself talk too much. I'm gonna drop it to my my homies, and they'll come raid the chat.
Oh, you know what? I'll email you that I popped out the chat, Slipmaker.
I'm just dropping the YouTube link there.
Okay, that's fine.
They can see my my beautiful studio behind me.
That's where the magic happens.
With this is where the magic happened for Zach Hamilton.
So good. No, I'm gonna go there. No, it's such an easy joke. I gotta do it now. He was just so good it was mine. Oh
my God, it was.
Joke went in the books for the episode.
I have to top that now. So. Video sponsored by Bud, by the way.
Let me see here. I just want to pull it up on here. Slip, where you from?
I'm from Arizona.
No shit.
Lovely sunny Arizona. So, fiance has lived in Florida for a while, and we definitely think we may wind up in the Sunshine State at some point in the future.
Look at that. Where at? Where in Florida?
Probably Naples area.
Okay.
She used to work at a place down there with wild animals, so she'd like to get back to that.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's cool.
Construction, so I'm sure if you are annoyed by construction, and I can contribute to that, and make it worse for you, and profit off of that. I saw a video. It was like the five cons of living in Florida, and like the cons was so much goddamn construction. And I was just like, that's just 6 pros, baby, in the bank right there.
Oh shit. Let me see here. That's live.
I gotta get this on the most important of all. I gotta shield this. Sorry, bear with me. You guys go ahead. You do your magic. I don't want to step on anyone's toes.
No, you're fine. We just do nothing for 5 minutes and waste everyone's time, and then we go.
Oh, that's how you gotta do it.
I'm just trying to see here. There we go. All right. Well, we're live there. Slip, say something.
Something.
Nice. Okay. We're good. We're good.
As it a YouTube video, this is kind of a YouTube video that's in process. I'm just gonna look in there.
Colton, is Slip coming across a little chop up, or is that just my end?
No, he's good on my end.
Okay. Maybe it's just my end. My stupid internet. Oh damn, we got Slips in the chat. Joke's on you, my time.
I'm in the chat.
Oh, I don't know. It just says jokes on you. My time has no value. I thought that was you since you're doing this with us.
There's nothing I'd rather be doing, especially because I watched. I can't believe I did it so recently, because I've only been doing these like major retrospectives for a few months, and I'm kind of curious when I finish them. I'm like, will I ever go back and watch these shows like ever? Because they're usually shows that I'll come back to every few years, and I'm like, I just like spend so much time with them, and it's like I'm already back watching one of my most hated episodes.
I found it so ironic that in your retrospective, you basically give the synopsis of this episode.
Yeah.
Like you go through
I
all 8 seasons, and you're like, all right, so let me describe to you episode 8, and you just like
specifically,
yeah,
that's the one. Oh my
Talk about
god.
fucking
Yeah.
fate.
I mean, I know you guys kind of want to do more of an interview sort of thing and talk about Dexter as a whole, but I mean, after watching this, I know I've been listening back to your guys, kind of like going through the greatest hits, and by greatest hits, of course, I mean like Get Geller, and like the really painful ones, just to hear the reaction, and I know you guys are kind of from listening to you, I know you're trying not to like nitpick or like totally dissect it or just roast an episode, but it's like I'm here tonight when in Rome, so we'll do the interview. We'll do we can talk about Dexter as a whole. We can talk about New Blood, and then at the end of things, we'll our pitchforks and torches and to the Wicker episode.
I thought the episode of the whole series. Oh shit! I'm in the wrong podcast.
I'd
Hold
love
on.
for you to walk
Sorry.
me through that. I mean, I know also you guys are looking for someone who would defend the later seasons, and I'm just like, hey, you can go to my comment section.
Oh, that is true. That
You can harvest some people from there.
I was on Reddit. I kid you not. I was on Reddit last night, and somebody posted the photo of the 3 of them in the car. You know, are we there yet?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that? And then somebody on there was like, I actually think that's the best episode of season 8. And I was like, who is this person? I was like, I need you on. I need you to come on. Like, yeah, there's somebody that commented.
I commented on that person. I was like, hey, would you mind like I was like, hey, I think this is like one of the worst episodes ever, but without like I'm too close-minded to hear someone else's, like I need to hear someone else's opinion because I can't do it. Like
I need to get out of my echo chamber.
Yes, so like tell me, and then someone else. There's 2 people out in the world that love this episode, and he was just like, I just love Dex. The first thing he went to was, it would be a great episode if they didn't kill Zach. So basically, if this episode didn't happen, it would be a great episode, is what the person was saying.
Well, I mean, I guess I can kind of get that then, because what I was thinking watching this was, I was just like, this is like a bad How I Met Your Mother episode. Like, aside from like a murder at the end, it's just like a misunderstanding, and they go on a road trip, and like he bangs the hot girl, and like, yeah, it's a hangout comedy basically that's just written, and then they have an awkward dinner. Yeah, and then it's like all of a sudden at the end, it's like, oh my god, Zach got murdered to the tune of Mama Cass, which I'll just start the nitpicks way. The Mama Cass thing. I've never watched Lost.
Hold on, save it, please.
Oh my god, are we not starting it? Okay.
We
I
haven't
thought
started
we were already
recording.
getting into it. I'm
No.
already like, this is fun material.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want you to burn it all.
You can't get repeat. You can't get repeat material. No.
I rolled J before it started.
I don't want you to burn it, and then all of a sudden.
People,
Hold on a second. I think
I am worried about people at the gym. Like I mentioned in my review, I watched at the gym a lot, and I'm worried about people behind me, like who see me on multiple days, that have seen Dexter, and I'm sure they like got to the finale, and they're like, oh, thank God, his suffering's finally over. And then they see me today, and like he's watching season 8 again, and they're just laughing. Like I think I heard people like snickering behind me on the treadmills and stuff.
That's actually.
When someone's working out, they're like, that's a psychopath. Don't go near that guy. That guy's-
Why is he running harder?
Well, I think if you were studying Dexter, trying to like figure out how to like commit a crime, it would end really poorly. I guess someone actually did that. I think. Do you guys know about this? Some guy tried to like emulate Dexter and killed someone.
No.
I think I actually do remember that. Like, it was a while ago, right?
Well, I mean, I guess it ties into today's episode. He basically just did what Zach Hamilton did, where he was going to kill some guy. He set up a kill room and then like just murdered him wherever it was, and was like, didn't really think about how to get him there, so I just sort of murdered him. So, I mean, probably it for me to laugh at a man's death, but I'm kind of chuckling at it right now because
It's a short-lived career.
yeah, he didn't make it very far. Dexter couldn't even kill him because he had no possibility of killing again.
Our friend Jen in the
Until
chat just
wherever
said it was
releases him.
Mark Twitchell in Canada. It was a Canadian.
Ah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Is the next season of Dexter in Canada?
It is actually. That's ironic. No, it's not.
It is.
No.
Oh, I couldn't tell from just the location.
So Slip,
You
I
wouldn't be able to tell Dexter is in Florida a lot of the times from the location. So Travis Marshall's church in a mountainous Florida.
Dude, by the time we start recording, Slip's gonna have nothing left. He's like, guys, I got
He's
nothing.
gonna sit there
so
drinking.
much.
He's just sitting there drinking Bud Light, going. These guys are dead.
Two lights.
Double listed.
No, I mean, like this video could have been 5 hours long. Like I've got so much in the tank, still hot. All the feelings are still lingering right there.
Let's do this. I think we got 4 questions just on your little process. Not your little process. I'm sorry, on your process.
Okay.
Then like
This is a little process.
overarching Dexter questions, and then I kind of clipped a bunch of sound clips from your retrospective, and then we could just kind of go through them and whatnot.
I love it. I love hearing myself talk.
And
That works
then
for me.
whatever time we have left, we can talk about this episode.
All right. And I'm fine to go long. I don't know if you guys have time constraint or anything, but I could talk your ears off about this.
If you listen closely, you can hear Colton get a little erected because he likes 3-4 hour podcasts, which I have a feeling.
But we're going for the limit here.
Yeah. If we want to make this a Joe Rogan experience, let's do it.
Well,
I'll be right back, and then we'll kick it off. I'm gonna hit the head.
Go ahead.
So
I'm
fancy.
drinking a Bud Light, so not the best plan. I'll get a piss bottle before I come back too. Here, I'll leave Zach. Zach can take over for me.
Man, it's so funny. You know what? This has to be his friends in the chat, and they're just like, yeah, let me ask him about his process, and someone just goes on his large, girthy process.
His large, girthy process.
First question: where do you hide the bodies?
Where do you hide the bodies?
Oh shit, man!
I got a feeling this is going to be the most interactive episode we've had in.
This is gonna be 2 hours minimum.
Good. Finally.
Yeah, I know. This is
Come on, let me go. I'm gonna go rail line of coke. I can stay awake during this.
Oh man, this is funny. The guy's name is I'm Taking You to Flavor Town.
Is his name?
Slip?
No, Flavor Town. That's
Joe Biden.
Oh my God! How can I?
Joe Biden.
No, the guy, Frosted Tips. Cook, Frosted Tips. That's all I can remember. Lead singer of Smash Mouth.
Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
Mark McGrath is what I think of every time that guy Elway comes in. Guy.
Oh my God.
I think you're thinking of Guy Fieri.
That's it. That's Flavor Town right there.
And I think it's Fieri. It's not Fieri. I think.
I think
it's Fieri.
My parents watch his diner, drive-ins, and dive show. I would think I would know his name at this point, but I don't. As much as I hear them talk about him, like we'll like give him a call like during the middle of the week. And Colton, we were watching the Triple D. Did you know he went to a restaurant in Houston? Like, no, I didn't. Where's it at? Oh, it's got to be close to y'all. Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's probably about an hour away, but I'll head right over and try the noodles. I don't know.
It would be really funny if Slip just never came back. just stood there with it. Oh no.
Okay. All right, I'm back. Did I miss anything? Have we started yet, or are we?
Did you almost say, "Are we there yet"? I feel like he almost said that.
Are we there yet? Are we there to? I want to get Dexter right in the. There we go. That's good.
Oh my God. All right.
Move over, Dexter. Oh shit, that's wrong. No, not. God, I can't. That. Yeah, that didn't work. This is so bad divorce.
It's not working.
Okay, there we go.
Oh my God. All right.
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Let me
Finally.
start this.
All right, there we go. When we get to the episode proper, I'll switch back to
go upside down.
the late Zach Hamilton. Oh yeah, I'll go upside down too. All his brains will be falling out.
All right, I'm gonna start this recording, and then let's get into this. God. All right,
Pound it.
we're live. Where's my shit here? Okay. This is Victor, and now that they're both done duding me, I'm joined by Colton and special guest Slip. Slip, how are you?
Dude, we've got 3 people talking about Dexter.
As
This is gonna be great.
as you've probably heard me mentioning for the past few weeks, Slip made a Dexter retrospective, and we implored everyone to watch it. He covers all 8 seasons in. How would you call it? Like, is it humorous fashion? Is it informative?
I think it's sort of like it starts out. It's kind of like the show. It like starts out sort of like very competent and well thought out, and then as it goes along, it sort of like descends into insanity. So I'd say it's like that because I mean, if you just want to get to the juicy stuff, just like hit that season 6 button right away. Because yeah, but no, it's yeah, it's sort of just the whole. It walks you through the season and sort of my thoughts of it and sort of some history around some of the stuff. Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my first question here is what made you start doing these? Because like we are just one of 7 million trillion podcasts out there, and like we know the market's flooded, but I also feel like the next up in terms of like content creating is also like reviews like you do. And it's like what made you like want to do that?
I just have fun kind of talking about this stuff, and it's sort of like my whole history with Dexter is kind of like a start of this too. But I have fun breaking down what stuff does and doesn't work, and it sort of started off with I kind of learned video editing techniques. I have an old series that's still up on my channel where I rather ambitiously tried to, starting the 1st of December, release one video every single day until Christmas Day that was a focus on a different Christmas episode from different series, and just kind of do like a 3-minute bit that's sort of like the structure of the series, what I like about different. Obviously, I mean, I was in school at the time, so I had more free time. But yeah, no, I obviously there's only 10 episodes of that for a reason. I definitely could not keep up with writing, editing, recording an entire 5-minute video. Oh, sorry. I'm recovering from a cold, so if I cough every once in a while, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Where's my mask? Hold on.
Yeah,
Your mask.
passing through. Oh, don't worry, I got the test, so I got
Okay,
swabbed,
okay.
and they found out I'm Vogel's son. Yeah, no, but then I sort of I was just having fun. I hang out with the community I met through the channel Recommended Playing, who he does sort of these very elaborate walkthroughs of video games and stuff. And a lot of them are content creators, and they're really nice guys. So it's kind of a thing where I'm like, oh, I'm making some stuff myself, and I kind of got to bounce ideas off of them. And I kind of was bouncing back and forth and making TV stuff or video game stuff, and it was sort of a hobby. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, it was sort of like something popped in my brain. I do it. There wasn't like a schedule or anything, or like. And then it sort of took with I watched second season of The Boys, and I was kind of like, there's really little stuff I really don't like. It's like I got like blur my mind. And then it sort of became a bigger thing with Boardwalk video. I was plus here listening to your podcast. Oh yeah, also a Boardwalk Empire podcast. I'm like, well, no wonder they like my channel then. 'Cause that's like a very, very cosmic lineup right there. With that, I kind of noticed a niche with that, because you're talking about like the million podcasts, stuff like this, million review shows, and it was sort of a thing where it's like Boardwalk Empire is a show that has a bunch of clips with millions and millions of views on them. But if you look for like a discussion, like the biggest one, it had like 7,000 views, and it was like 9 minutes long, no spoilers, just like Boardwalk Empire, like brief focus on it and stuff. So I was like, this is like, I've never seen a show like this before, and I was like, this will be my opus. Because I could talk people's ears off about Boardwalk Empire. Literally the first date I ever went on back in college, it was like the first week, and just like right before I went on the date, I just discovered Boardwalk Empire, I watched the first 3 episodes, and the entire date, all I talked about was the plot of Boardwalk Empire. It was all I talked about. I sat there at the PF Chang's for an hour and talked about Nookie Thompson and yeah. I basically just made that video, and then I was kind of like, what do I do next after this? And it was kind of like nothing. There was stuff like, what do I talk about, this and this and this, and then the reboot got announced. I was like, okay, the Boardwalk Empire did a lot better than I expected. We're going to strike when the iron's hot. I planned to talk about Dexter anyways, and then it was like, oh my god, just it was so much more than I ever expected to get myself into.
And look where you landed on this podcast.
I'm
On
pleasantly
this
surprised. Thank you for shilling my content as well, because that video is on a rocket ship to Mars right now. I was joking with my friends. I on my computer, which has never opened YouTube before, I was like, type of Walk Empire and I show up. The video, and it blew my mind.
Holy shit!
And that's like crazy. I was like, okay, what about? It was before the Dexter video came out. I was like, what happens if I type in Dexter? And it's like they have like 5 episodes of the show for free, and I'm like, I want to be above those. Like that's how aggressive I want to.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't expect to ever be above Showtime's thing, but I just thought that'd be funny. I was just like, I want me. Although apparently Dexter New Blood is running ads on my video, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Showtime, that you're paying in between me shitting all over the last season of your show.
Thanks.
I guess I'll say thank you. This Bud Light is sponsored by Showtime.
How long does it take you to do these? Like, I would say, actually, you know what? Dexter has a lot more episodes than Boardwalk, but by the time you get to Dexter, you kind of have like a routine, right? Like you know what you're doing when you get into it. How long does that take you?
It takes. If you just look at my release schedule, it's like, their schedule. I say laughingly. It's kind of like a month-long process, sort of, because it just takes as long as it takes to get through the series and stuff. And there was sort of a thing with Dexter where normally when I'm doing a TV show, I can burn through all the episodes. Like, just like I'm listening to them on my car, I'm listening to them at the gym, I'm listening when I'm cooking. Like, just all the time I'm burning through these episodes. And I hit the first wall with Dexter when I got to season 7, because I started rewatching it, and I was kind of chuckling to myself and my friends. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a video on Dexter. Pray for me when I get to season 6. And it was like the joke kind of. I tried to think that was just a joke. It's like, yeah, I'll just burn through it and whatever. And I got to season 6. It was like as bad as I remembered it, but I was having a lot of fun. It was kind of like still joking around. Oh, I'm putting myself, and then I finished. I was just, fuck. There's another 24 hours of the show, and I do not remember liking it at all. And it just grinded to a halt at that point, and it was like I could get maybe 1 out a day or 2 out a day on the weekends and stuff. I'd have like a bad day at work, and then I'd go to lunch, and I'd be like, I should be watching Dexter right now, but I can't. Like, I can't sit there and watch Hannah McKay poison Dexter and then drive him out to the middle of nowhere for no reason at all.
Not explaining how she carried him, but
she didn't. Yeah. Well, she has her magic. Actually, learned this season. This episode, she has her magical, staff of Oompa Loompas that do whatever she says. So I'm sure rode along with like a million of Kilometer Kastner's hired goons, and then just dragged him out of the car. No explanation needed. Just like, oh my god, I can't even start talking about this episode.
You know what's funny? Well, just asking you 2 questions, you answered like 8 other ones I had. So it's a good thing.
But it's almost like
you can tip him off, because I'm kind of like already been in a pad of like, if they ask me this, I could.
No, you like this. I had like, how long does it take, and then how do you no, you're knocking all these out. So then let's get into Dexter specific stuff. Besides, you had the little goof about the arrest. Like I think you said there was an arrest from between season 3 to season 8 or whatever it was. But then you commented on your own video like, hey, I know I messed up or whatever. Yeah. Between this video and like other ones, is there anything like you regret Like almost kind of like, oh fuck, I want to like go back and just like edit this out, but like it's like a whole process and whatever, so you just don't.
That so this video I got better at that. There my other videos. I shoot my mouth. I rewatch the whole thing, shoot my mouth off. Like I remember I do this, and then like I post it. Someone would comment something, and that's like the worst comment to get because I get people who will be like annoyed at my takes, but I'm not upset really. I'm just like that we disagree on that, and I know I talk kind of in a way where I have the voice like it too, where some people can be like, this guy thinks he just is the deciding voice on everything, and it's like this is my opinion at the end of the day. But there are some times, and it gets me where they'll point out a thing I didn't catch. I'm like, fuck, right. You're right. You're completely right.
But I'm not going to admit it.
No, I'll admit it. I'll admit it. There's been plenty of times in my videos, right? I got something totally wrong, and I didn't watch the show. But with Dexter, that was just a flub on my part. Then I had a comment today where I broke down. I was like, okay, here were all the arrests. Because I joke about they've never arrested anyone since the first season.
Right.
They arrested a few other people. It still stand. It was still. I was worried. I was like, oh man, I remember it was going to be this other thing. Should I just add a thing? And then I was like, it was still 3 years. I'm fine with just doing a fact check text. But I had so many exporting issues with this video, and it's an hour and 20-minute long video. So every export attempt took like an hour.
Yeah.
This is all being done off a laptop too. So it took a long time, and it took days because it would just throw up random flags. I'm sorry, you all missed out on when I talk about him tending to Lumen and bringing her back to health in season 5. It was like her on the table, and I was already kind of hesitant. I was like, should I cut this? Because it's kind of like Nip City going through that shirt there. And then my thing kicked up an error message. It's like, there's something wrong with this clip. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to lose a clip, that's the one, you know. People can still see John Lithgow's censored ass. That was the important one. But then I cut it, and then I started uploading, and it starts giving me just random errors all over the place. So like, it was a giant pain in the ass to get it exported. It took days and days and days. And when I finally finish it, I upload it to YouTube, and I'm making sure it doesn't get copyrighted before it's sitting up there all day. And I was through it myself. I was like, God damn it. My Frank Lundy to Planet joke from The Simpsons, I accidentally made a second text box, and it just says new text box right over the center of it. And I was just like, I can't go through this again. I'm blurring it out. So I blurred it out because I could cut it short, but I don't want YouTube forever to edit it. I want to blur it out so I can finally post this video. It's already been sitting on my computer for days, not exporting. And as soon as I blur it out, YouTube's like, all right, we'll be back with you tomorrow. It's going to take us a whole day.
Oh my God.
To like blur that scene out. And I was just like in agony. Oh my God. It was so painful. I was like, I'm just going to post it and people will laugh at me. But I settled for that time. Yeah. So that's the only thing in the Dexter video. And there's a few things I cut that just as kind of like, much like the show, do we need to go on this tangent?
Right.
About Asuka's daughter.
Yeah. Of the premiere, I mean, I'm assuming, you know, you have your X amount of shows that you did on your channel. Of like the premiere shows that exist that you've watched, and I mean like on like, I consider premiere television like the ones on the paid channels. Like anything that's like on NBC, CBS, whatever. I consider them a whole lower tier. There probably are good shows. I just think of them as like a second tier. Is Dexter the laziest one of like the premiere networks? Do you think, of the shows you've watched?
I mean, in the direction it goes. I mean, I've seen. It's really bad. Some of the later seasons are really bad, and it was kind of my first. So my start with Dexter was, because when I grew up, and even when I was getting sort of older, I was more of like I'd watch with my dad a lot of shows, but we watched sci-fi shows. We watched like some Star Trek stuff, or Eureka, or Chuck, or similar sort of goofy sort of stuff like that. And then I remember he was watching the pilot of Dexter with my brother one day, and it was back when you had to mail discs through Netflix. My dad didn't really into it. I've never seen a TV show like that, and it was, oh my God, this is like nothing I've ever seen before. So it became it was a thing that I do to spend time, get a new Dexter disc, and just like sit down and burn through the whole thing. I think this was at the point where season 3 was running and season 1 and 2 were available, so it was just like, but so it also was kind of a rude awakening to me. It's like, oh, shows can totally shit the bed. And like, so it was kind of like, there's a lot of shows that I'm sure are awful. I don't know if you guys have watched American Horror Story, but I have a lot of friends who stick it out, and then every season they're like, why did I bother doing that? Like, they just hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I actually started the first like 3 or 4 season of American Horror Story, and yeah, no, it was like I think it was after I don't even remember the names of them, but it was like at season 4 or 5 of it. I was like, fuck this show, I can't watch it anymore. Like I just couldn't do it. Yeah.
So Dexter was the one. Dexter was, I think, really the only one that I stuck out to the bitter end, other than Game of Thrones, which
See,
would
that's
rival
my,
it. I would say that's definitely in contention for being as lazy as Dexter.
I think Game of Thrones is lazier. That's just my personal opinion. I think Game of Thrones started at a much higher rate than Dexter did, and then Game of Thrones bottomed out because of that.
Oh, and they really gave Dexter a run for its money in those later. I mean, I was in pain in that last season, and it was only like 6 episodes long or something.
That's the thing. Well, each episode was like 3 hours, but
that's true. Oh
I would say the only reason why I think we started out this season when we did this season 8 podcast. We started out. I was saying like Game of Thrones had bad writing. Dexter season 8 has lazy writing. But the reason why I would give like the tip to Game of Thrones because. And I feel like I'm like the only person who brings this up when you talk about it. You still have those were movies. They were poorly written movies, but you're talking about like the action and like the like all the just like the production value is worth it than like the shitty CGI we get like in Dexter. So like as like a whole, like the macro, it's like I just give the tip to Game of Thrones, but yeah, like they both really try to like outdo each other, you know.
Yeah, I remember. I think the laziest spoilers for Game of Thrones.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
I think
Go ahead.
The laziest, probably. Well, you're probably thinking I'm gonna say Arya killing the Night King.
No,
which is pretty fucking lazy. But my thought is Arya and the Hound in like the finale or the second to last episode. They're like the entire city is being like atomized by dragons, and he like on a personal vendetta just like walks into the capital and fights his brother on like a giant crumbling tower. And I'm like, how in God's name did he even get there? He was on the other side of the map like the last episode.
Yeah.
It was just so bizarre. Yeah, but there's stuff like that. And then I think Game of Thrones had the lazy thing too of they sort of knew you want to see this character die, you want to see this character win a cool fight and stuff, and they didn't really give a shit about the context leading up to it, which is lazy in its own way. Whereas Dexter, I think they were just kind of like, what do we do with Zach? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Kill him. Just kill him then. Like there is so much stuff, and like I'm like, like Game of Thrones is lazily.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is lazily trying to give the audience something they want, which is at least admirable. The Dexter writers are kind of like, it feels like someone made them write it as like homework, and they were just like, then some stuff happens. It does feel like someone like did this as a homework project and it was like late. You're like, I got to knock this shit out. Like if someone like was like, write us the spec script for like Dexter and Hannibal, and then like, what do you do for the next one? I don't fucking know. I'll pass with the other ones. I'll get an A on the other ones, and I'll be like a D minus.
Average score of B. All right, so let me for I guess we'll mix in your thoughts on the new Dexter season. I want to go through the retrospective first because I clipped while watching it, and again, it was really well done. I think like I told Colton, and like I think Colton was telling me, and overall, this is episode 92 of Dexter. So I've done a podcast 92 episodes. Like Colton was saying last episode, each episode probably takes about 3 hours of your time between 1 watching, 2 recording, and like editing. And you managed to do in an hour and 80 minutes what's been taking us, 92 times 3? Like 280 something.
Don't even
Don't
ask
you
me
the math.
No.
You're hit, I mean, I know you hit 4 days exactly when the show ends, which is my currently I have a short list of things to review, and this is the second longest thing on it.
Oh yeah, I mean this is 96 hours straight up. Like that's fucking right. Like that's 3 days.
I didn't realize that too
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, it's a network show. They're 12, and then I'm like looking. I'm like, fucking. Fringe is the only thing on my list that's longer, and it's only longer by like a couple hours.
Oh
Like,
God.
oh my God.
But
I'm not reviewing The Walking Dead.
oh God, that's another one.
Oh.
That's another one I stopped.
That's the 1 million subscriber special. If
Oh
we get to
yeah,
1 million
yeah. There you go.
Because I was saying Game of Thrones.
It's still on.
We'll do
How-
20,000.
How is
It's
that show
still
seriously
on.
still on? How is it still on? How?
And
I
haven't
haven't
even
watched
seen
that
it,
in
but
10 years. The show's been on 30 years at this point. Like, it's
Yeah,
got to have been on.
I tapped out. I remember I was like really, really sick with like the flu or something, and I was already kind of feeling down on it. And then they did like the plague arc in the prison, and I was like, "This is just fucking miserable. Like, why am I? I'm already sick in real life. Why am I watching this?" Yeah,
So I
and
don't
I'm
even know.
disappointed. From what I can tell from the trailer being hit with, it just ends with evil military showing up. So it's like every other zombie thing anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's what every other zombie thing ends with. I'm like, okay, I mean, they have cool stormtrooper outfits, and you know.
So I have
Anyway,
my internet for whatever reason is only cutting out on slip randomly here and there. So if I am not reacting to something or I can't whatever, it's only because it's only slip for whatever reason. But Colton, you hear him fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope is the chat on the stream saying I'm cutting out or
No, I don't think so. Because if Colton, it's probably just my end for whatever reason. I'm only saying that because if I don't react or whatever, it's not because it wasn't anything. I just can't hear you.
Oh no, well I think you were praising my writing style and I derailed it to complain about a show I haven't watched in half a decade. So that's me.
So I clipped a bunch of stuff from season 1 through 8, and then just sort of like a how do I describe this? I'm just gonna say it. You say your response, and then I'll just fucking keep going.
Yeah.
On season 1, you mentioned all of Deb's boyfriends, handsome but one obvious conflict of interest. I think that's just a note I read. I don't even think you have to comment on it.
It's all of them though. Is it not all of them?
No, it's a
It
great
is.
point when you like look at it as a whole. It's good. I want to play this clip from season 2.
You know, insurance companies, anything to keep from paying out.
Yeah, especially when a fire has multiple points of origin. Is it possible she started that fire on purpose?
Yes, obviously.
There's so many
Yeah.
times I wanted to clip on terms of like what the voiceover is, and you have the best one, and it's coming in season 7. How mad did the voiceover make you?
I know exactly what it was. I mean, it became a joke. So it's sort of like there's the stuff that makes you sort of legitimately mad about a show, like probably some the angry I go with the show or in like 3 and 5 because I'm like, oh, it's almost really good. And there's a new thing about it where I'm like, oh, they missed this opportunity there. They could have done this. They could have done that. Oh, excuse me. And to me, that's more frustrating than like once it gets to like Ghost Harry explaining fucking everything that happens. You kind of just like laugh at it, and it becomes sort of a joke of like what's going to be the dumbest one this episode. And they get, I mean, you guys, you aren't at the end yet, but like, oh my god, the last 2 appearances of Ghost Harry are like so on the nose. It's unbelievable. I mean, there's one in this episode that we watched tonight where he says, "I taught you the code." And now he's learning it from you.
Passing
and I'm like,
the torch.
Fucking
Yes.
Thank you, Harry. Oh yeah, and he's just passing the torch. It's like, thank you, Harry. Yeah.
I've said it so many times. I think I've now said it once per episode. It happened in episode 4. Now we're in episode 8. I feel like I have to bring it up every time now. It's in episode 4 towards the end. He sees Deb, and the voiceover just goes, "Deb." It's just like a total encapsulate of like the how south the voiceover went. Something
I'm trying to remember what season has the thing where you see him on the computer, which is another annoying thing I didn't comment on in the video is how many times it shows you his computer and like explicitly says like a progress bar of like what he's doing on his computer. But there's a point where he pulls up like the traffic database and he's like, I have to put his license plate in the traffic database. I'm like, I can see what's on your computer, Dexter. Were they worried like they weren't gonna have the budget to like screen it? And they're like, we're just
What
gonna
was
see
that you had-
Michael Seal's face.
you had done that in your thing with it's like LaGuardia like circling like Chevy black, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, it
Yeah.
matches, and it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I get, yeah.
She could have just looked at it and had a suspicious face and said, she's like, black Lincoln Navigator.
That's it.
The best
Yeah.
one, and this is like, I'm not gonna bring in the 6 feet under thing, but I watched it at a different age where I was kind of like, oh man, what's gonna happen next week? Not really. I was like too young to realize like, oh, like Dexter is never gonna get caught. In terms of like what it's not, I guess it is the voiceover, but I'm shocked you didn't have it in your video slip. In season 6, when Dexter does the video of where he is, so he like baits Travis,
Where he is.
and he just goes,
Yeah.
and he has like and in the video he's like, I'm gonna bait Travis out to get me, and he's like, come see me, and he's just like awkwardly holding the camera, so you see the video,
Conspicuously has the slice of life. Exactly.
But then the
behind him.
voiceover will be like, after he finishes the video, he's like, now Travis knows where my boat is, and now he'll come to get me. Like it was like 3 different ways they hit you with an obvious thing they're hitting
Yeah.
you with.
I mean, I want to applaud him for their restraint. I think he should have said, the slice of life is in the video. The slice of life is the name of my boat. Travis has seen the slice of life, which is my boat, in the back of the video. And then Ghost Harry's at the end of the dock, and he's like, now that Travis knows the slice of life, he's going to come and get you. And Dexter's like, don't worry, I'm ready for him. And then
At the slice of life,
yeah, at
which
the
is
slice
my
of life.
boat.
At my marina, which I should send him. Also, I mean, just on that one, that was another like nitpick that I just didn't bother bringing up. But like, that's the most damning piece of evidence ever. You sent a video message to a person you knew was the serial killer,
Right.
with your face and boat in it. It's a good thing you caught him, Dexter. It's a good thing they didn't fucking look for his phone.
Get that phone.
That's like every
They
season.
didn't even look at his painting though. So
Like,
gives a
I
shit?
have something on that too when we get there. So something
I was gonna say, I mean, that's one thing I always think with this show is I'm like, wow, Dexter, that's really stupid. What if the police find him first? I'm like, no,
it's never gonna happen.
they're not.
Well, to your
They're
point,
fucking morons.
and I've said this. I feel like I've been screaming this since we started. I started this podcast with my wife and now Colton. It's always like they never hold Dexter accountable. Dexter, he never suffers the consequences. And I feel like, again, I've said it, I'm repeating, but I'm just like sort of introducing Slip's point. Like this season, he starts out, he's like literally banging soccer moms. He says, my life is great. And it's like the shittiest everyone around him is. I didn't even realize that some of it started early in season 2. Because in my head, it's like, wow, the first 4 seasons are great. And then it gets really shitty. And something I guess I didn't even realize until you brought it up, and I'm going to play the clip here, is like how Dexter didn't even have to do anything in what most people would say the best season 2, where he doesn't even have to. Again, let's let Slip say it himself.
But the most disappointing thing is that Dexter didn't have to make a choice about killing Dokes. It's like one of those telltale choose-your-own-adventure games. You are presented with choices and given the option to make one, but a lot of them play out the same way regardless of your input, which can be fun for a video game because the point is you're thinking about the moral implications and possible repercussions. You eventually have to push that button. Should we rob this car for food and supplies? Well, we're actually going to rob the car regardless of what you, the player, say, but I bet you mulled it over really hard, right? This doesn't apply to scripted television. It's not exciting that Dexter thought about breaking his code if you cheat us out of him actually having to make the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just playing his own thoughts. Like, right.
It's just like they're pouring right out of my head. No, I mean, yeah, and it was a thing that I saw the show get criticized a lot about, and I think people maybe took it too far. I guess there's sort of like after the dust settled, or before the dust had settled, like the night they dropped Remember the Monsters, and then we all watched it the next morning because we were watching Granite State instead and Breaking Bad. I'll be honest, that I was kind of keeping up with the season, but that finale out of my VR for months before I watched it. Me and my dad, I mean, we're still up that after all those years, we just had no desire, and we were hearing how bad it was. My dad had just caught up on Lost, which he watched after it was over, and we were like, it has a shit finale, you know that, right? Everyone says that. He's like, no, it'll be fine, and then like I could tell the morning he saw the finale, because he was just like so dour. And it's like, I'm sorry, Dad, we tried to warn you. Anyways, But yeah, what the hell was my point? Oh, basically, I think like after everything was settled, or like there was like a collection of takes on Dexter that like everyone fell into different camps, and I think people sort of still fall in these camps. And I'll start with the extreme end of the which is people. No one likes the finale. No one.
Mhm.
But there were a few people who right when it aired, they're like, well, I cried when he dropped dead in a blanket in the ocean. It's like, I mean, he didn't. Or you really just got caught up in the moment or something. But I'm like, no one liked the finale after a while, after Denial finished. But there are people who go, Dexter was an amazing show until the finale. Excuse me. But then like everyone who's mad at season 8 and season 7 and season 6 are too critical. Then I know people. I think this is kind of more from what I've listened to of you guys. This is sort of where you guys fall. Where it's like 1 through 4 are great, 5 and 7 mixed bags, 6 and 8 are terrible. Then like the third camp is 1 through 4 are great, and not everything after it, screw it. And I'm kind of there. I like season 5 quite a bit though. It's kind of like neck and neck with 3 for me. And then there was a camp that was sort of people who were like, Dexter was never good. I see this less and less, but there are people who are like, it was never a good show, and it hoodwinked everyone because it was like graphic at the beginning, and now there's other graphic shows going on, and everyone needed what it really is. I kind of like after though I kind of fell into that for a bit because I was like remembering the really bad parts. I was just like, oh. And then he doesn't kill Trinity. He saves him when he tries to jump off the building. That was the whole season. Everyone just remembers it positively because of the twist ending and stuff. And that was kind of like the mindset I went into the rewatch with a little bit. So I remembered, I was like, season 2 is my favorite. And then 1, 4, and then the rest of them in chronological order. And now on the rewatch, I was like very pleasantly surprised by not just season 4, but a lot of it. Because it was like, when I would go back and rewatch the show, I'd watch the first season, the second season, and the first season, I'd just skip around to the Ice Truck Killer stuff. I was like, I don't want to see Cases of the Week. I've seen where the show goes. They've always been dumb. I don't want to see them. And then season 2, I'd just watch it, and then I'd watch the Dokes finale, and I'd be like, that's some bullshit. Goodbye, Dexter, again. And I'd like have fun with season 2 and a bit of season 1. When I went back for the rewatch, and I was like, I'm going to kind of dive in, and I went in with sort of the same mindset I had with Boardwalk Empire, where there were some seasons of Boardwalk Empire I didn't care for, and then I kind of went in with a more open mind and knowing where it was headed. And I was very pleasantly surprised with them, even if I had my criticisms of it. And Dexter, some of that happened because I was really like pleasantly surprised with the first 4 seasons. I was expecting to just find like problems. And I had a lot of fun with all of them. Even the Miguel season, which the first time I threw, I didn't enjoy as much. I was like, now I know exactly where it's going. And I liked it more like that. But that also, I think, added to me being so frustrated with 7. Because I went when I first rewatched 7, or when I first watched 7, I hated season 6, and then at that point I was getting turned on to other shows. I was watching Breaking Bad, I was just starting Boardwalk Empire, and I was just like, this better be an absolute barn burner to get me back involved in it. And then it's like by season 4, and I was kind of expecting that because it's like the trailers try to fake you out. They've got him like killing Masuka in the trailers and stuff, like all kinds of crazy. And I'm just like,
it's a dream.
Sequence.
Yep.
And it's like I just but then I was cooking that thing. They got a lot to work with. Let's see if they're kind of taking notes. Rest of the class, everyone else making great shows now. And then it's like by season 4, I'm like he's yelling fuck at a Minotaur man. He's putting in a cremation machine. And as hilarious as that is, I was just like, this isn't going anywhere. So I was really disappointed with 7 the first time through. But then I came back and I was like, people love Isaac. Maybe I just wrote him off because I was sick of the Doomsday Killer last season, and maybe I just didn't get the Deb stuff as much. And I kind of rewatched it, and I was like, nah, I don't get it. I don't get the love for 7.
Something
I'm curious because I know you guys. I'm sure you guys liked me because I think I'm maybe like the biggest season 7 hater out there. So
you know what? There was always. Again, it's more so when I was watching it live, I wasn't able to like, it's like, oh yeah, this is good. And then afterwards, like as I got a little bit more mature, like in my television viewing habits, it was kind of like, wow, this and this doesn't fit. But something you brought up that in terms of like how you were watching the seasons and that you mentioned in the video too is like most people know if you ever dive deep into like Breaking Bad and you start following this stuff, like that season 2 was somewhat meant to be that's it. That's the series. The plane crashes and that was sort of meant to be like the end. It could have been the end. And something I never even considered, that like season 4, like you said, in where Trinity kills Rita, totally could have been the series ender, and it's like a perfect loop. As much as it's not meant to be a series ender, but it could have ended there, where Dexter Born in Blood, Harrison Born in Blood, end of story. Like there's your ending. That's something I had never considered until you said it on your thing. You did the whole rewrite, and you went like too fast for me to like try and pick up.
It was a bit motor mouth. I feel
And
that part.
And I was like, you know what?
Slow down a bit.
I'm gonna let him have it because my head was spinning. I don't even know how you spoke that fast.
I mean, I'll just do some behind the scenes stuff. I mean, it's a long video, but it's the length of the audio was like more than pieces long because of all bad takes and stuff. And I got to the end, and I was like, I'm done. And I'd been thinking about my little rewrite stuff all day, and I was like debating keep it in or don't keep it in. And I was like, we're not gonna do it. So my voice was like destroyed, and I'm like, no, we're doing it. Like I'm throwing this in there. Like hire me for New Blood season 2, which you fucking know they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm dreading it.
We'll get there.
I don't want to get Picarded. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Something else you brought up in season 5 that are you an Avenger Marvel Universe fan?
Not
really.
I like them enough. I never go out of my way to see them though. But
in Endgame, I think one of what I enjoyed. Endgame is the second part of the
I've seen all the big ones I've seen. So after Endgame, I haven't kept up.
Yeah,
but,
no. In
like
Endgame,
all the main the big
ones
gets together and punches Purple Homer Simpson. I was like, I was right on board with all those.
Purple Homer Simpson. What? I'm getting to a point here. What I liked about
I'll
Endgame.
spit on my own beer for my own choke. Sorry. Go ahead.
In Endgame, they spend like the first, Infinity War ends and half of humanity has just disappeared. They at least spent like the first half hour of Endgame like reveling in that. Like, what would life be if fucking half the world just disappeared and you get to, people's loved ones disappeared. You brought up that like season 5 should have delved into more Dexter dealing with Rita's death, as opposed to like 2 episodes later. It's like, yep, we're back, and now it's just there's not we're sans Rita.
Rita who?
Yeah, it's basically right. I always said like season 5 just has this weird like it almost feels a separate episode from the rest of 5.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm always like, damn, he's saying what I was thinking just way more efficiently. I spent an entire episode talking to myself in a room about that, and you did it in like 15 seconds. I just thought that was hilarious.
No, and there's a thing. I think you guys talked about. I was listening to it at work today. You guys talk about sort of like your favorite and least favorite series finales on like an older episode. And not like of this specific show, like each season, not of other shows. So, and I think you guys did not like 5, which I wasn't crazy about 5 either, with Dexter crashing his car and comically getting shoved down the stairs by Jordan Chase and that whole debacle. But I didn't realize this until I was piecing my video together. I'd already done the script and everything, but I think there's kind of like an evocative scene where they play a retooled version of the song that plays every episode now in season 8. And it starts this episode. Dun, dun,
Yes.
dun,
Yeah.
dun. They have like kind of like a weird like throaty like woman singing in a high pitched version of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like creepy sounding. Like it evokes sort of the Ice Truck Killer. And it's him at Harrison's birthday party, the very, very end of season 5.
Yeah.
And he's looking at all the people from Miami Metro, and they're all kind of like they've had their trials and tribulations that we didn't fucking care about, that we didn't care about at all, which kind of undercuts it a little bit. But if we cared about it, and then it's sort of like you see they're all having these connections and stuff, and he has the internal monologue where he's like, look at them connecting with each other. They make it look like it's not the hardest thing in the world. and then he sits on the bench and he takes off the wedding band from when he married Rita. And I'm like, that's like a really, with the music swelling and we're seeing all these different characters from the show and stuff, and it's like this should be a very evocative moment. Like, who's Rita? Oh right, oh you didn't too fuck about her. Like after like the second episode of the season, and it's like if you kind of had baked into that it's like Dexter's really having problems connecting with people. I mean, it seemed like if Rita had dumped him instead of dying, like it was just like going back to your ex. Like Lumen dumped me, I should call Rita.
Like,
It's like in the context of that, it kind of doesn't work. But it's like if you maybe put that earlier in the season or something,
right.
and had it really like him sinking in, that it's like I had this important connection that got lost, especially when they're evoking the music of the ice truck killer, which is like the other only really important connection that he lost earlier. I think that would have been a much more important moment, but instead it's like, there you go.
And in season 5, and like when watching it, is where Dexter as a whole doesn't really have. I always say it's like a heightened reality. Like it's not real life. They try to sell it like real life, but like there's no world where Miami, which is as small of a city as it is, just has all these serial killers running rampant. So you have to take.
I don't have a problem swallowing that because one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Hannibal, and that is some ludicrous shit going on in that show.
I never even thought of that with Hannibal. But in season 5, when you had said this regarding the Quinn story, let me play it first because this is where I people tend to think like the drop comes from season 6, but how season 5 ends, like I mean, the most obvious way is Deborah finds him. Never mind, we're good.
Doesn't even walk in the room.
That's where
who needs to know?
That's where the threat of like, oh, we're dragging this out to the very end, and he has armor, right? What do they call that? Plot armor.
Yeah.
The explanation of the Quinn story is something that is worth playing.
So let me get this straight.
Wait,
Quinn suspects Dexter killed his wife. A PI shows him photos of Dexter dumping garbage bags in the ocean under cover of darkness. Then that PI winds up dead moments after calling Quinn about a break in the case. The main suspect fudges the blood report to get you off, and your reaction is, thank you? No questions asked? Even if the implication of this scene is supposed to be, I know you killed Stan Liddy, but thanks for clearing my name, I don't think I'd be saying thank you. I'd be saying, I know you spared me. I promise I'll never say a word. Please don't fucking kill me and my whole family.
And since he's not here, and something I've already repeated like 4 times is where he brings up the idea of you're never holding Dexter accountable for anything he does.
I guess I don't get why they even bothered having her find Chase's hideout if nothing was going to come of it. They didn't need her to swoop in and save the day because no bondage performed by mere mortals can hold Dexter, and they didn't have any intention of her making a meaningful discovery. It was just a fake out, just like Liddy, just like Quinn, and this is the moment the reality starts to sink in. Even if someone catches Dexter, even if damning evidence comes to light, the writers are never going to have the balls to put Dexter on the run. There will always be a reason for the characters to give him a pass or go from suspicious to trusting in a heartbeat. Also, the writers can avoid making this once daring and experimental television show go to any sort of place that is daring or experimental. The question now is, how do you get the tension back when the audience is always going to call the writer's bluff going forward?
And I feel like the only moment they got close to the tension is at the end of season 7. With the LaGuardia thing.
Yeah.
If do you think they never got any tension as from the remaining? No.
I knew LaGuardia was not going to bring him down. I'd become pretty cynical about the show at that point because I thought when like Deb found out, I was like, the rule book's been torn in half now. Like we're going to start doing some crazy stuff, and it's kind of like they went right back to the status quo. And even Deb finding out didn't shake things that much. I don't look, is not gonna blow it all this conspiracy. There's no way. So I didn't think I never got the sense that there was I mean I can understand people getting that sense that like, oh, LaGuardia's gonna be involved in like they're not specifically LaGuardia, but also like, oh, there can be someone's gonna find something about Dexter and this whole thing's gonna start unraveling. And I didn't buy it, and then I know it after that, going into season 8, like there were even interviews with the writing staff where they're like, no, we're not gonna have him get found out. We already did that 3 times.
Right.
He didn't get found out. Like they were like, people will be bored if he got found out because we've already done that plot line. We've already done the plot line. He didn't get found out, so it'd be boring. Which, I mean, like the absolute cojones to say that when the final season of Breaking Bad is airing tandem to your show. I'm just like,
it's
like that's
yeah,
that's like some extreme balls to say that.
So I think the finale aired on what is widely considered I don't consider it, but most people think how do you say it? Ozymandias?
It was the
same
week
night.
after.
Ozymandias.
So it was
the week
Granite
after?
State. Granite State, which is the
Second to last.
the
You're
Breaking
right,
Bad
you're right.
episode.
Penultimate.
Yeah, it's the
right.
Breaking Bad episode that no one ever rewatches because it's so depressing. But everyone loved it when it aired that night. But yeah, I can when I'm doing rewatches of it, it's just the most painful thing. That episode is so miserable, so brutal. But yeah, I mean, so is Remember the Monsters in its own way. But yeah, so it was a big thing, and that's sort of a famous thing. Is I don't know if you guys know about this on Reddit, where like the Reddit subreddit. I didn't know about this until years and years later, but the Reddit for Dexter had like a like crisis of faith, where like as soon as season 8 started, like hated it, like really hated it from like square one, and it got like so bad that like the top post ever for years before they announced the reboot. So this year, the top post for 8 years was the night of the Dexter finale. Someone just ironically posted Breaking Bad Granite State discussion.
That's
And you can go on the subreddit right now.
I'm there because that's now it's
Just search by the top.
no it's not Granite State. It's it's the Ozymandias.
Oh, it's
Ozymandias.
Okay.
Ozymandias. Yeah.
But still, I mean, that
That is
that's
fucking
gotta sting
trolling.
if you're a Scott Buck. But
You know, do you want to laugh? And I don't even care saying this because I ended up blocking this person on every avenue I have. Anytime I bring up the comparison to Breaking Bad on this podcast, I get a comment every time. This episode was great until you brought up stupid Breaking Bad.
it was a thing.
If I wanted a Breaking Bad episode, or if I wanted a Breaking Bad podcast, I would listen to Breaking Bad. It's like, well, we're going to talk about Breaking Bad, so
Yeah. Oh, I get that on mine. I have some like regular things that show up, like I did an episode on all the blackface episodes of Always Sunny, and like an early video, and I make a lot of references to Community because like my favorite episode ever of Community got pulled because of that whole thing, and like I kind of like reference it a lot in the video. There was a ton of people who were just like, "Shut the fuck up about Community. I don't care. Community sucks." Always Sunny's awesome, and Community fucking sucks.
God.
Stop talking about it. So, yeah, no, I know how that feels. But yeah, there was sort of a small. I don't think it was a big group of people. I think most people who really like Dexter just decided to watch Breaking Bad eventually, realized how good it was. But there was a small group of people that were just like, well, if you're gonna compare it to Breaking Bad, then stop sucking Breaking Bad's dick like that. Like you just all the critics love it, and it's like the real people love Dexter, and it's like the real people don't love Dexter either. We're all annoyed.
I think there was a lot of people that were probably and I say that because I was one of them. There was a lot of people that were probably watching both of them at the same time because I don't know if y'all remember the app Vine. Do y'all remember that? It was like the pre-TikTok. So I was on Vine.
Folks what Vine is.
Yeah, Vine is essentially TikTok, but it's not owned by China, so it's better. Okay, so
China.
now that we destroyed our Chinese,
give us Debbie Hanna, so it is the best.
Yeah.
app.
So I had Vine, and I was, that was like, I thought it was a really cool thing. And so I was on Vine, and I remember making a Vine for Breaking Bad. I could be wrong on this, but if I remember right, the series ending for Breaking Bad happened, and then it was the Dexter, right? So the Breaking Bad came, it was Dexter was first?
Dexter was first by 1 week.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I remember filming myself with Vine, like doing my takes then with Dexter, And I was just like, I'd like feel myself. It's like it was starting, and literally like the next like because Vine was only 6 seconds long if I remember right. The next thing was just me going, well, that fucking sucked, and like that was like all I put. Well, then Breaking Bad, I did it with Breaking Bad, and it was like me like for 6 seconds basically going on about how amazing of an ending it was.
Yeah,
Like
and
I don't know.
I can understand the frustration from the Dexter people, maybe if they haven't seen Breaking Bad or they're not really invested in it, or but it's not, you're not holding up two shows that are exactly like each other
No.
and going like Breaking Bad's doing it better than Dexter. In a way, you're holding up two shows that handled things exactly the opposite.
Right.
It's like we go into the final, like that Breaking Bad broke its last season in half, but you go into that final half and it's like the worst person in the world to know a secret knows a secret, and it's just like a roller coaster ride straight through. Whereas you start the last Dexter season and you're like, I don't even know where on God's green earth we're going. Like Charlotte Rampling with a bunch of children's drawings shows up on Maria LaGuardia's park bench that I'm gonna walk through Miami and have my dog piss on. Like that's, I mean, where is this going? I mentioned that in my video, but it's like, where is this going? So it's like it's sort of like Breaking Bad rolled the dice and like won big time.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they were like, we're gonna burn everything to the ground and do something spectacular. And Dexter kind of, you know, they played it safe. They placed a small bet and then they threw the dice and it came up snake eyes.
Well, and I think a part of it though I think a part of it, and the major, like if you're listening to this, major Breaking Bad spoiler on this, so sorry if you haven't watched it, but the show's been off the air as long as Dexter. But part of what I just remember talking about when we were like, my friends that did watch Breaking Bad, was everybody was like, is Walter going to be alive at the end of this show or not? Right? And the writers and everybody, they had the balls to go through and write and be like, no, we're going to have him killed. Dexter, we were having the exact same conversation with my friends that watched both, where it was like, do you see him like getting either caught, killed, something like that in the end of it? And everybody was like, all of my friends, at least when we were watching this, we were like saying, if he's alive at the end of the show, it ruins everything because they don't have the balls to end it properly. And at that time period, at least. And that's exactly what didn't happen. They were just like, let's just give him the easy out. And
yeah, I mean, and I'd say kind of contradictorily with Breaking Bad, like, and I don't know if you guys have seen El Camino. You probably have the Breaking Bad movie.
I have.
It's fine. I kind of like when I watched it in the theater, even though it was a Netflix release. My local Alamo Draft House did like a whole thing where they had special cocktails, and I was like, I'm going to that.
That's cool.
I want a T-shirt from Breaking Bad trivia. But it was like I was like edge of my seat the whole movie because I was like, what the hell is gonna happen with Jesse? And I was like, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Please don't ruin it forever for me. So it was like a very tense movie, but then also I'm kind of looking back and I'm like, if I ever watched El Camino again, would I really give that much of a shit? It's kind of like a nice, I'd like the shots and the action and stuff, but it's like, it doesn't have that same way that I think Breaking Bad grips you, because it's sort of just an epilogue. And
I got to see Meth Damon fat finally. So.
You get to see him, yeah. He put on a lot of weight when Jesse was in captivity, and then he wanted to shape up for Lydia, so he lost again. And yeah. Oh no, I made a joke about that with Better Call Saul. Everyone's like, damn. Oh God, what's his name? Tuco Salamanca looks so much older in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, and I was like, oh yeah, well he was doing a bunch of meth and then he went to prison, and so probably he cleaned up. I was like, what? Wouldn't you look better if you cleaned up? And then they're like, they didn't clean up. He went to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. No, but what was the point? We were talking about so many things before this.
That's okay. Let's try to slip in the moment, and I'm gonna try and do this live.
I remember what it was.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, with the Breaking Bad ending, I think we as an audience were kind of invested in how is this going to shake out, and more than just how is it going to shake out, we were personally invested, and we're like, I have a way I hope this shakes out, like because of everything that's been built up over the season. I want this to happen because this would be really gratifying, and it would complete the arc of the character, and I'm invested. Not just in, it's not just like I think Walter White is real. and I want this to happen. It's like I in the narrative they're telling, I care about how it ends. And I think with Remember the Monsters, the Dexter finale, it's like he gets killed, he turns into a lumberjack, he and Deb get married, and he's Hannah. Who cares? I mean, I'm just like, the more ridiculous the barrier, because I didn't care at the point already. Jamie Batista turns out to be the real brain surgeon. Fuck it, why not? Be amazing. That'd be great.
Slip, let's go to you're at the gym and you're working out, and you have the stream up.
Oh.
This picture shows up. Just put us to where there may be a few seconds delay here, but you're at the gym, you're working out, you're trying to be efficient with everything. You're watching season 6, and then this picture shows up.
And then
there's like a delay, so it's probably there. You go. Should be up now.
I don't need to worry about the delay. I know exactly what you're talking about. I will remember it till the day I die. Actually, it was just kind of like the Travis Marshall plot was already reaching like the apex of goofiness, and of all the elements that I'd forgotten from the show, because I'll be honest, excuse me, the end of the Travis Marshall plot is so unmemorable that I was listening to you guys talk about the finale earlier today. I was like, or the one before the finale, and you're like, oh, and apparently at the finale, Travis is gonna like try and execute Harrison on a rooftop, and I'm like, what the fuck was in that trailer? And then I was like, wait, no, that happens. I totally forgot again.
Right.
Like, I've watched this episode. I've watched the show twice now, and both times I just totally forgot the end of that arc. And that's because the apotheosis of Travis Marshall occurs when he makes the tableau, and how that got approved by the producers is beyond me, because it's like, if I were doing it, if I just saw that, I'd be like, throw some horns on him, give him like pointy teeth, and I mean, it's beyond me. It's so stupid looking, and they reveal it's almost like the entire season was all a build-up to that one joke. Like it's like a Nathan Fielder like prank. Like I'm waiting for the Nathan for You episode where he's like, and then one day I pretended my name was Scott Buck and I made the 6th season of Dexter, and we're gonna put like, he got some weirdo to paint some like a picture of Michael C. Hall, and then he's like, let's see if I can get this on a TV show. But it's like, because that whole season is like just building and building in absurdity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you already think like it can't get any worse when you find the body in the fridge. When you find the body in the fridge, it's already like, this is really, really stupid. And then it like the slow pan up to the picture of Dexter
with the music, yes,
with the music superimposed on a 6-headed devil. I mean, especially hot off the heels of what made him do it, which was like Dexter painting 666 on a statue, and it getting like reported on the news. And like, oh my god, he sends the boat video like right before that, or right after, right? It's like a cascade of like unbearable awkwardness.
But you know what?
And then like it pans to the picture, and I mean, when Dexter destroyed that, it was more heartbreaking to me than like at the start of Fury Road when they trashed the Pursuit special. Like, it was like a piece of pop culture like died before my eyes when he smashes out the face with the hammer.
But it's like,
so beautiful.
It's like, what was the point? This is what I say about the car crash that happens in this season, and amongst other things. Like, what was the point if Dexter is going to be able to smash it? Because that's, I don't know, you probably don't remember, but they throw out this line. It's like, no one's allowed in.
We waited for the blood spatter analysis,
and it's like,
and I can tell
wait,
you exactly what the point is. The point is, so I'm the writer, right? I think of two things. I'm like, at the end, Deb is going to catch Dexter in the church. So the church has to be a crime scene, so she knows to go there. Okay. Also, I have the coolest idea ever. Dexter is going to be in a ridiculous painting where he looks like Satan. So we have those two ideas, and then like they get to the middle and like, wait, Miami Metro has to find the church, and then like someone who like got fired because they weren't around for season 7 and 8. Is like, wouldn't Miami Metro? They raise their hand like, sorry, wouldn't Miami Metro
Out the
find
window.
the painting of Dexter?
Yeah.
And they throw him out
Fired.
the window.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, like, oh, how do we get around that? We could, and then they were like, well, he just waits. They just wait for Dexter, and just no one questioned it. That was it. Bing, boom, boom.
Is that the
Put me on
funniest?
the writing staff, Dexter. I'm ready.
Is that the funniest part of your 8 seasons watching? Because I have a different where I actually
It was
laughed
really
out loud.
funny. One that it didn't make it's in the part, even though it's not in the relevant season, when I'm talking about stuff that's so funny that made me laugh out loud. There were 2 other things that made me laugh out loud, which was Hannah McKay's ex-boyfriend jumping in front of the truck, which I included the clip of, and I almost put text over it that said I didn't change the audio, because like it's a comical like splat from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And like I wanted to, but then I was like, if I put that, people will be like, you changed the audio.
Right,
like, you're
right,
being snarky.
right.
And the other one that made me laugh, which I think is the next episode after
I
this.
can't remember if it's next episode or the episode after.
I'm pretty
But
sure
that's
it's next episode,
my
but we're thinking
favorite.
of the same thing.
That's my
Is
favorite.
him aging up Oliver Saxon.
Oh my god, that's not even mine, but yes.
That's not yours?
No.
You'll see it. It's in my video. It's I when I'm talking about stuff that's funny, but you don't see the whole thing. But it's him aging up the childhood photo of Oliver Saxon, like stretching his chin out, and adding a beard. And he's like immediately like, it's my neighbor. It's neighbor's girlfriend. And like, oh, it is the worst special effect you've ever seen. Okay, now I'm dying to hear what yours is.
Well, you know what?
I'm sure it's gonna.
You reminded me of one, but I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think honorable
It's
mention.
like Cascade. You remember one, and there's another, and another, and another.
I think this is also. I think this is 2 episodes from now. Is when Colton. I think you sent this to me when you were watching it. When they're in the It's season 8. They're in the restaurant, and Oliver's sitting at the diner, and Dexter is in
At the Salt and
clear.
Pepper Diner where he
And he's in
plays the song
clear
over and over.
shot, like just like I could see you guys. He's like right behind me,
That's
and Dexter's like, "Wow, he's waiting me out. He's really good at this." And it's a straight view. But that wasn't my one. That's honorable mention. My favorite.
before you go on, I thought it was going to be funny for a completely different reason, which is that Dexter wears these like ridiculously garish like Florida outfits.
It's this
And
color.
he's supposed to be staking the guy out, and he is just like totally like he stakes out like a sore thumb. It's like the most obvious stakeout ever.
It's like
He's
the one
so
where he's like at the window
conspicuous.
and he's like looking in like, and it's like
Yeah.
the guy's like, he's like, well, Dexter can't be off. He's just like sitting there like, just looking in.
My
Like,
I
who doesn't see
was
this guy?
hoping I was
Who
hoping it
doesn't
was
see
going to be
him?
well, because Saxon does see him. He actually does see him, and I was hoping it was like a meta. I was
Oh, that's
hoping it was
right.
a meta commentary where I'm like, eight years of Dexter wearing that on stakeouts, and fucking finally someone noticed him. I'm like, I heard this comment about. This is a tangent, but I heard this comment about the '60s Batman TV show, where there's kind of a thing going on where it's like Batman will solve a really simple crime, and then like Commissioner Gordon and the mayor will be standing around. They'll be like, genius, like you've cracked the Riddler's riddle. And then I had someone point out to me like that's kind of the joke, is that in that universe Batman is the smartest person in the world, and I'm like, that's kind of Dexter. It's like, he's been challenged by Oliver Saxon, because like the smartest man in the world wears that on a stakeout and stand right outside the window, and it's like now we're really threatened by Saxon, because it's like he might be the smartest man in the universe. Okay. Anyways, go on. Your favorite moment. Your favorite.
Let's be. I think the word is little person. When they replace the little person with Harrison, and he falls off the treadmill, but it is so poorly done that like it just goes from 5-year-old to little person, and
it's a masterpiece of awkwardness. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was,
and then he goes, "Ow!"
Yeah,
ow,
but it's so.
Ow.
You can't believe.
It goes from like literally like a kid running
right
to like an adult that just happens to be under 5 foot, but they have like broad shoulders and they're like running like
But
this.
it's kind of like he would.
And it's like that's not a child. That is an
Right.
adult man running with a wig
oh
on.
my god!
But it's kind of like
it's comedy wigs. Young Dexter is also pretty bad.
But it's kind of like you're saying, like how many you ever see like social media posts that end up getting like, they put out something, then like how many levels of authority did that go through where it was like
Before, yeah.
past? You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
When someone puts off a racist or an off-color comment, and it's like Pepsi tweets it out. Like, how many other people saw that before they were like, yes, approved? How many people saw this little person fall off the thing, and it's like, no,
And that's
this
the weird
looks
part,
good.
is, like, you see weird social media stuff when you're like, oh, it's just automated, and someone just knew it and just fed it in there, and
Right.
they'd spit it back out.
Sure.
Well, with this, I'm like, this went through so many layers, and that actually reminded me of something that you brought up a question earlier. Is there anything you regret? And I'm kind of like, I'm really shilling for Michael C. Hall. Like, through my whole video, I'm like, he's a great actor. He knows what he's talking about the characters. I kind of, the more research I did after the video came out, I have a little less sympathy for it, because at this point in the show, he's a producer and he's directing multiple episodes.
And I think he's making like crazy money per episode. He is the entire show, right?
He was one of those higher paid actors cable at the time of the last season, because Dexter was making bank.
Right. I mean, yeah.
And I kind of wonder why it ended at season 8, because I know season 6, like, they did the FX thing where it's like, and other channels do this now too. They had, excuse me, one episode, it went super well, great ratings. They renew it for 2 more seasons, like right there. So, but then season 6 just like shit the bed horribly. So I think I'm like, is that why they canceled it eventually? Because they could have just kept this train going forever. And they're kind of trying to. They're throwing coal back into that fire, seeing if it's going to start up again. But yeah. But another funny thing about him, that was actually sorry, that was just, I wanted to point out, I right before I released my video, I put a poll up because I didn't want to miss anything. I was like, what is your favorite unintentionally funny moment in Dexter?
Yes.
And Harrison falling off the treadmill,
Hello whore, I think.
the Hello Whore, the aging up software, Travis painting, and then of course Thanksgiving with Arthur Mitchell.
Oh, shut up, cunt. Yes. That's
Do you have a drop of that?
the what?
Do we have a drop, an audio drop?
Oh, yes, I do. If I
Oh my God.
stall while I'm talking.
We'll save that for. we can just like load that in the tank and then. Oh my God.
Other stuff. Now I'm just going off notes here.
Oh yeah, keep going.
No, you bring up that I think it's so funny in this episode how they do it. Where Dexter, start of season 6, but definitely season 7. The nanny's just 24/7 sees Dexter's kid more than she does, and we just completely took off any challenges surrounding Dexter. Like, he is free. He's basically a single man with no child.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, that was a weird thing because it's like you sort of think with season 7 they might add more obligations onto him because that it's like they draw out episodes. But yeah, that was a thing that it became sort of a thing at the very tail end. I didn't catch on to it, but there was like an internet review site, and I caught onto it in the last few episodes, and they had. At the time, they're kind of like not the same anymore. It's under new management and everything. But they were very discerning in their television critiques and stuff. So if a show got an A, you knew you were in for something like amazing that night.
Right.
Like you see Breaking Bad got an A, and you're like coming home from work or coming home. That's going to be awesome. At the same time, if the show got an F, like you knew it wasn't just bad. You knew it was like some sort of spectacular failure. And I remember seeing. Months before I actually watched the finale, I saw that the Dexter finale got an F. And I just went right to comments, and I was cracking up at all the comments, like how elaborate and elongated they are. And some of I think that the chat, like the comments, got disabled on the site forever ago, so I couldn't go back to them. But I remembered, like, burned in my memory was someone describing Jamie as Dexter owns her as a live-in slave nanny. And I was like, I've never heard a character described better. Because, like, yeah. I mean, they just didn't care. They didn't want it to be. Even this episode.
Yes, she's
terrified for her own safety. And then she's like, I'll take Harrison with me, too.
But why?
For the next couple days. Yeah, for the next couple days, don't pay me for it. Don't worry. Okay.
It's like
that was what I was hoping was Dexter would take her away, and like she starts weeping. She's like, no, because apparently she's supposed to be a student too, in the middle of all this.
Right.
Where like I want her to be like, no, how am I going to entirely pay for my tuition right now out of pocket? about like quadruple overtime and watching this baby for like 90 hours a week.
Something.
Quinn, can you hook me up with some of that family money that sometimes exists and sometimes doesn't?
Something when we were doing the first few podcast seasons with my wife, I got a lot of shit for nitpicking, and I like when you talk. So you were able to do this in a bite size, but when we're talking, I mean, we're going to be our longest episode ever. But when you talk about this episode for you try to fill an hour, I'm so past the point. I used to just nitpick a lot, and I guess we still do. But you said a comment that I wish I had this as like a throwback to people that I could, because you said you can't call it nitpicking when you're asking me to ignore the investigating and forensic evidence / happenings of a show about forensics and investigating.
Yeah.
Then I just have you nitpick the worthy stuff. We nitpick the little shit stuff. That's something I never like. I was just like, I'm nitpicking because whatever. But it's like, yeah, it's a show about this, and they are not fucking following their own rules. And that's just something I never was able to verbalize, which is great for a podcast where it's audio only.
Yeah. And that's also I put a giant shield right there because it is incredibly fun to nitpick. Like, it is really fun to do it. So I'm like, there's times in the review where I'm like, I can't help but indulge. I mean, and Dexter really just lays it out on a platter for you to just like, pick up your hors d'oeuvres of nitpicking. And
the voiceover. There's so many times it gets progressive. I think season 4 is where it really starts to get a little out of hand. But at the end of seasons, I guess episode 8 or so of season 7, we find out as an audience that the Isaac Serco, Ray Stevenson, is gay. I'm going to play this clip here from Slip of just the frustration of probably listening.
This is my breaking point.
Yeah, you could hear it. This is what. Let's just.
I'm amazed when Isaac takes Dexter to a gay bar. Dexter didn't have an internal monologue where he thinks Isaac is more comfortable in a gay bar. Is it possible Isaac is gay? And then Ghost Dad shows up over his shoulder and says, Dexter, if Isaac is comfortable in this gay bar, it's possible he's a gay man. God damn it, I'm so sick of this show! Oh yeah, also there's a side plot where Angel retires and opens a restaurant.
Yeah, and that was also the perfect. I was like, what's the dumbest subplot? Because I want to drop it like right after I'm really mad in the review, and it just lined up perfectly. I don't think in that entire season we see his restaurant. It's just him talking about, like, every once in a while he's just like, health inspector came by, and then it's like season 8 is when we actually.
I think it's the season finale.
The season finale, we're there. But I mean, it means nothing.
That's it. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I know we have
like some 2x4s out on the beach. Like that's all his restaurant is at that point.
Yeah, it's literally just they put up a sign that says bar in front of the restaurant. They didn't have they weren't allowed to shoot in the restaurant. They were just like, well, we have rights for the beach, so Angel's
What's the name of his restaurant? I can't even remember. It's like
Papa's.
Papa's
I'm
dad.
so embarrassed. I know that.
It's put some 2x4s out there. Papa's.
It's also spoilers. It's also where they throw the Vogel Memorial / Goodbye Dexter party all at once.
/
in the penultimate episode of the season.
We've all been to funerals / going away parties, right? Like I was at one last week.
Honestly, I don't hold it against Angel, but he said, "I'm like, did you even fucking know her? Like, who? Why does Miami Metro
anyone did
give a shit of that Vogel's dad?" She died on your watch from a murder.
She was in one meeting 3 months ago. Like that was about it.
I think it was probably Angel just going, "Oh my God, it was so obviously the boyfriend." Quinn hung out with him this episode and talked about life. how in God's name did that see this coming? Oh, okay, we're us. We couldn't possibly say. Anyways, yeah. God. Oh my God, this episode.
We're getting there after this one, and then let's get into the episode. I just wanted to point out you put it in like bite-sized form, and where there was a few episodes ago where they started bringing back some of the season 1 stuff, because I think you allude to it a few times. Is like, hey, as once the seasons start declining, they start to do more of, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? And it's this season where they really start bringing back the season 1 stuff. So much to the point where, and I'm playing this because you put it in, like, again, bite-sized form, where the brain surgeon is essentially the ice truck killer, just repackaged. And I'm going to play the clip here where he just kind of points out everything. But this is obviously, and again, there's no need for spoilers, but you need to, like, know how the rest of this season plays out. But I would assuming if you're listening at this point, most people do. But I thought it was a good way to just show how similar these two people were.
The Brain Surgeon is blatantly a retread of the Ice Truck Killer from Season 1 in terms of narrative and themes. Let me walk you through my Dexter ring theory. Narratively, we have a series of grotesque crime scenes with preserved viscera from each victim, all done in the effort to jog the memory of a family member and get them to reunite. The defeat of an obvious red herring midway through the season, the revelation that the killer is a family member, and Deb being placed in mortal danger in the penultimate episode. Thematically, the Ice Truck Killer and the Brain Surgeon are both just psychotic children who were abandoned by parental figures and now envy Dexter because he got the guidance they never had. The message that if you're a fucked up, traumatized kid and you're tossed aside by your family, you're just going to become a fucked up, traumatized adult, is more engaging than whatever the fuck they were going for with Doomsday 2 years ago. But this late game retread of the Ice Truck Killer with 3 added degrees of separation from Dexter is a tall order to get invested in.
So it's just, and I think they try so much, because I think in the finale, I think as the season closes, Slip, something I'm surprised, and I wonder if you caught on this, something I used to complain about so much up to like season 6 was the season ends and it's like curtain close. Next season, we're not going to talk about what happened last season. It happened, end of story. Let's move on. All the way to the point that, like, I think that's why, if you remember, towards the end of season 8, Miguel's wife from season 3 shows up.
Shows the house.
And it's like, hey, see, this is like the Dexter universe where every other season is completely contained. So much so that even I think in the finale, they play the Ice Truck Killer music, and you see on one of the trucks, it says like Ice Trucks from the truck from season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
It's yeah. Because again, there's a specific but the more so the point, is that not something you thought of, or maybe because I've been saying that for so long that like maybe I'm not right on that. Like,
No, I think you're right, and I honestly think it's a thing that I should have thought of, because it's kind of, it was a staple of older TV shows.
Yes.
Like, I mean, this was like, it was just like, you do the season, it's done, and then if you get a callback, I remember there was some time in like season 4, I think, where they make a reference to a serial killer being in the department, and Masuka goes like Dokes, and it like just shattered I was like, oh my god, what a callback. It's like that should be like the most like prominent thing. Like, everyone in the world should know, like, oh, the serial killer, the most prominent serial killer in like the world,
the history
worked for this police department. Like, everyone should know his name. It's like he never comes up again. So yeah, it comes up again when he appears as a ghost in season 7 finale. But yeah, no, I agree with that, and I guess you could call it a strength in later seasons. They sort of try to incorporate, where it's like a season bleeds this season bleeds this season. I guess I just never thought about it, because I kind of took it as read that it's like,
yeah,
it's a cheat if something comes up from the other seasons, but don't expect it, and don't care if they gloss over it. And I mean, obviously the Quinn thing in season 7 after what happened in season 5 is.
Yeah, did I not play that clip? Oh no, you know what? I didn't clip it.
No, you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
No, I think I played. Did you mean like how Quinn should have been front and center during the season 7 investigation? It just, you had two perfect. I clipped how
from season
the blood
5,
on the shoe.
Yeah.
If we're done with a little retrospective, if we want to move on to this actual episode, where ironically enough, in his retrospective,
there we go.
That he doesn't do this for any other episode, and it just fate worked out the way it did.
One of 2 episode titles mentioned in the entire video of 96 episodes.
You got 80 minutes, and you could tell nothing against you, Slip, but like how fast he's going through the information. So there's a lot he's packing in, And the only episode where he basically gives you the synopsis, and it's actually this episode 808. Are we there yet? And it's literally like, hey, let's start with an episode description. Okay.
Dexter explains the plot of the season to Hannah so far, and no, I am not joking. There's an episode where Hannah and Dexter take a road trip to help out Twerp, and for the better part of 5 minutes, he dryly explains how he's fighting with his sister, Vogel is helping him out after their hunt for the brain surgeon, and he's taken on a kid's sidekick. The episode is titled, Are We There Yet? And the joke is so obvious that I assume they were trying to bait it out of critics. So I'm not going to do it.
I like.
Yeah.
So let's actually try and talk about this episode, right?
I have notes. I'm gonna get them out of my phone.
I
actually took notes because I just rewatched it.
I played this last episode, and you actually brought it up again here, where I played an episode where it's like the mute. Not on top of the writing getting lazy, we're talking about the music too, because they replay the same exact song, right? Goes back and forth. Something I realized watching now. He mentions Zach is the killer so many times that I'm like surprised I didn't realize that back in 2013. You know, like, oh, Zach wasn't here, so whatever. And again, the voiceover is just so whatever. Did either of you watch this live? 2013.
Yes, I watched it live. Or it was on DVR and I watched it later that night.
Right,
or
yeah,
whatever.
but
I'm sure I watched the Breaking Bad episode live. Watch this after.
Did you even remember thinking if Zach did this or not, or did you not even care? I guess.
I didn't think he did it. If I remember right, I didn't think he did it. I was like, no, it's too obvious. But
I don't really remember. All I can think is you mentioned the voiceover, and my first note is the first thing Dexter says before we even see him. He's looking at the crime scene. We're seeing it through his perspective, and he says, in so many words, I should give a shit about Cassie's murder, but I don't because I'm thinking about Hannah. And it's like the thesis statement of the last season, basically. But yeah, no, I think I mean, I'm sure I didn't think it was him because I remember calling everything. Because I remember there being a thing when the season started, people were like, Vogel's the brain surgeon. Like right off the bat, like a ton of people were like, Vogel's brain surgeon. And I was like, no, if they were trying to not be obvious, they'd be more obvious.
Right. They're not subtle.
Which actually leads to later in the episode, I'll bring it up, but this is from season 8. The only thing I remember that seemed like it could tip you off Vogel being the brain surgeon. And at the time it occurs, we've already had so many scenes with Saxon that you're like, something is definitely up with this guy. He's the brain surgeon.
I didn't pick. I don't remember picking up. But again, I was such a different television viewer because like now watching it, it's like, oh, I'm just an idiot. I think I remember being like I think I hate how much we talked about it, and then if I sit here and like, yeah, I was shocked when Zach's dead at the end of the episode. I just don't think I was like paying attention enough. I just feel like I was a different television viewer. So I do think because I do remember being like, well, now that Zach's dead, now what? But I think I've been saying that almost at the end of every episode. Well, it's like, well, this happened, so now where are we going with this? It's not cohesive in terms of like a string of a season. The ability that Dexter is able to track Zach through his credit cards. How?
I'm a nitpicker. Not to be nitpicking on that. He works for a police department. I just tied it into that because it shows him calling like whenever he's calling like the rental company for Hannah. I just assumed that was how he was doing it. I'm trying to like give the show, I guess, the credit on that. But at the same time, I'm like, but I mean, shouldn't he have a warrant? Like, I would hope my credit card company would like not release what porn I'm transactioning with without a warrant. So, you know,
I think they should have had a more elaborate scene where he calls the motel and he says, I'd like to call about D Zach gave me.
Slip, where do you stand with the idea that Hannah escaped prison to come back and is walking around Miami in an episode?
Completely ridiculous.
I was watching it with my wife and I was just kept telling her like, look at Hannah, she's dressed in all white, blonde hair, and then this episode they add the Dexter in a bright pink shirt, like we were talking about earlier, in terms of trying to.
Oh, and
trying to
when
be
she gets her
stealthy.
go bag, she's in a pink dress.
Yeah.
Going into a house that's being staked out, just so you can look forward to that. No, but I laughed at a comment this morning I saw where, because it's like the first joke of my, anytime you make a long YouTube video, like a bunch of the comments are just gonna be the first joke.
Yeah.
So like when I say the fictional city of Miami, Florida, like a lot of people caught on to that, and someone was like, I didn't know Miami was fictional, and someone responded like, of course it is. It's a place where there's no hair dye or hairdressers and no hats except for the one on Angel Batista. And I was like cracking up at that. But what I want is I want like a comedy scene where it's like Elway Investigations, like right before the finale, where he's like got all his men lined up, and he's like, we're gonna get this $250,000 bounty on Hannah McKay. He's like, I want you going to airports, bus stops. I want you looking for redheads, bald women, women with green dyed hair. And then they're like, wait, isn't Hannah McKay a blonde? And he's like, no one's that fucking stupid. And then just smash cut to Hannah in blonde checking in at the airport with like a fake ID that says like Nana McRae. Like that's like the level I want the show to be operating on. And I'd enjoy that more. Yeah, but I mean, I guess pushing on the episode, the thing that annoys me is the very start of the next episode, they're going to get DNA evidence that confirms it's Oliver Saxon. And the start of this episode, they have very bizarrely contrived fake evidence proving that Zach did it. This is the last hurrah of Zach, and he spent half of it like under the microscope of suspicion from Dexter. Like if this is gonna be our end thing where we're supposed to, we're supposed to really connect with Zach, and more so connect with Dexter and see why he sort of has a building relationship with him. Having the whole thing be him really suspicious of Zach and not trust him and thinking he's a murderer, and us thinking he's a murderer too. It's bad. Because like there's really damning evidence, and Dexter, you're kind of just like, no, then it's something else then. I just thought that was like a weird choice. Like they could have found Saxon's hair but nothing else, and then that add up too, because like that's the boyfriend. Of course his hair is on the apartment. It just seemed like a weird choice to me to have. It should have been Dexter kind of leaping to a conclusion, because he's already been sort of suspicious of Zach. If he's actually going to be trainable, I think that'd be kind of a better payoff. Is it's like, Zach, I came because I'm mad at you. I thought you did this thing, even though I didn't have proof. Like assumed it was you, and then instead find out like Zach's like, no, I didn't do it, and I need your help. Like I'm in this situation, and that'd be kind of like a nice mentor moment for Dexter. And I mentioned in my video, I also wish Dexter. We'll get to it when we get to the video. But that was my main problem with the crime scene. Walking in immediately. Jamie's wearing more clothes than she usually does, which is always a problem. I mean, have you guys ever played Metal Gear Solid 5? Sucks. Yeah, I think Metal Gear Solid 5. I've never played it, but there's a character called, I think, Quiet. She has a weird skin condition where she breathes through her skin, so she always has to be in a bikini at all times. And I'm just like, Jamie's got that. I saw her in Dexter. She's got the same thing. Anyways, sorry. Okay, so we can go on with the episode, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
No,
like
yeah, go ahead.
The whole complicated thing with like Saxon put it's like, oh, my car handle turned into a razor blade the other day, by the way, be careful. Like, and then it's like that's the Saxon's obvious plot to plant blood at a crime scene. What was with all that? Why did we need that? Dexter should have just assumed that Zach did it and gone out on his own.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, okay, because of just even where we're at on this, but like I had some issues with this. Like I said, I was messaging Victor before a couple days ago before we even started recording, where I was like, I'm just gonna kind of put my nitpicks in like a little like paragraph of like the shit that like I just don't like, and I'm just gonna like kind of post that. So I'm not doing it throughout the episode. This one didn't. I wasn't able to do as much on it, but like two of the main back-to-back ones I had with this one is one. Dexter and Hannah show up at this hotel, right? And they're showing up, and Dexter magically finds the room that Zach's in because of the plastic wrap that's on the other side of the blinds. Yet whenever they go into the room, the plastic wrap is on the other side of the blinds. Yeah. So you have continuality. Like, is he double is he double plasticking shit? Like, I don't understand.
Maybe he's supposed,
maybe he's supposed to be that bad about it. Not only that, Dexter is 100% when Zach walks in that door. Dexter is at this point 100% certain that Zach is a killer, right? So why didn't he just go ahead and knock him out? Instead, he comes up there and does this. I know that you did it. I got my knife. I know that you did it. And he's giving Zach. I didn't do it. I don't know.
Fucking pictures on the
Okay,
wall.
let me back away. Yeah, exactly. He didn't do any of that shit. He just like all of a sudden is just like, I'm gonna get you. And then Zach's like, no, I didn't do it. And Dexter's like, I don't think he did it. Hold on. Well, you were sure as shit 2 seconds ago about to do this, but now you don't want to.
To bring up that that feels like a How I Met Your Mother episode. It's like Zach is doing goofy comedy lines the whole time he has a knife to his throat.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
That's the girlfriend.
Dude, she's so hot.
Bro.
Nice.
Oh, you got him back. Nice, bro. And then he shotguns a beer while he has a knife to his neck, and I was like, that was a weird choice.
You know what? I never.
No, but if you want me to make it even worse for you, well, I was hoping and I was wrong. I was like, please let it be the exact same brand of knife that Dexter has, so that you can tell that they just use the same prop. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the thing that the nitpick that annoyed me is Dexter tells him 2 pieces of advice, which are don't use your credit card when you're on the run, and don't use this specific hotel room as a kill room. And Dexter has now done both of those things.
yeah.
That's actually a really good point, because he was going to kill him in that hotel room.
Yeah, and they didn't even do it vague. It's not even like they did a vague thing, because he talks to Harry, and instead of having a clever line where he's like, I'm going to show Zach how it's done, and you can leave it kind of ambiguous, he's like, I'm going to prep this room and then kill Zach in it. Because it's like a Harry scene, so he has to explain. And then he's talking to Zach, he's like, how would you ever get a body out of that room? Like, I don't know, Dexter, show us. Because you were totally about to do it 5 seconds ago. So yeah, that drove me nuts. But also, it was just like par for course.
It's stuff like that just goes over your head. But then, like, when you sit down, like, you want to like actually talk about it, where. Because even in that, Dexter is telling Zach, like, hey, like you said, how would you get a body out? Everyone can see you. Everyone can see the fugitive. I was trying to explain to my wife, like, well, who's Hannah McKay? Why is whatever? It's like, well, she was actually a pretty known killer, right? Because there was the whole whatever McKay stuff in season 7. And again, I depending on where you're at on the stream, what they're wearing. Don't those same people that will see Dexter or whatever carrying out the body would also see Dexter Morgan and Hannah McKay like running together up and down the coast?
Yeah.
Well, Florida coast.
And another just another thing, I just want to kind of the show aired in 2013. I think Serial started like a year after or 2. But imagine how much of a hot topic, not just a serial murderer who killed a crime like podcaster,
right,
who was investigating her. That would be like, oh my god, I'm sure like my fiance would know like this bitch's face from a mile away.
Right.
Like
blonde.
I don't even follow crime stuff, and I'm sure like I would know who this person is. I mean, much the serial murder. It's like, oh my god. Although I'll bone to them, mentioned in the one where they kill her husband. Why would the husband like her because she's a serial killer? I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I'm going to say, well, they showed that he's very controlling. So if she's on the lam, perfect reason to control Hannah McKay. I got a pretty girl, and if she tries to run away, I'll call the cops on her. And like, I'll throw that. I mean, he just tried to kill her instead or something, but like, whatever. I'll throw him a bone with that. I can at least see kind of maybe how this would work.
Doesn't, and again, it's sort of stuff. It's like, you know what, we got this covered. You don't have to worry about much of this because in the end, Dexter has a passport guy. Those exist out there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we can nitpick that too. From season 1, he has an M99 guy, and his name on the registry is Patrick Bateman.
Yes.
I'm like, that's really corny, but like,
I'll give it to
you. Oh my god, how much M99 is he buying? He's just knocking people out left and right.
Speaking about
he should always use a half dose. Just like he did with LaGuardia.
Perfect setup.
Dexter injects LaGuardia with a tranquilizer, and the writers include this line.
I gave LaGuardia half a dose of M99, so it will be found in her system.
Oh, okay. So if you just use a half dose, it doesn't show up. Total crap, sure. And I'm guessing half a dose doesn't leave a point of injection either. Oh, who am I kidding? Miami Metro was going to be investigating the case. Just saw her fucking head off and staple a suicide note to her shirt in your handwriting. You'd probably still get away with it.
Yeah.
Good setup.
Yeah.
Thanks, Slip.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned in my video too, the very disappointing part about this episode is there's no like it's just he just killed some guy. And it's like the amount of fun you could have with someone attempting to emulate Dexter and botching it. You could make like for a really exciting episode with that. Like I like imagining it's like got like Muzak playing in the background of a grocery store, and it's like his third Walmart day, and Zach is just buying like the Saran wrap.
Right.
And then he gets to the hotel, he's like gesturing it up the walls, and he kills the guy. He tries to like slush of blood in one bag of the plaster and just starts leaking everywhere. Just like all these humorous and dark things that you could do with trying to emulate Dexter as a super sloppy teenager.
That's usually like what happens in the dreams of like Dexter being sloppy. It was what Zach would be doing in real life. Remember, like one episode, he's like carrying a blood through the Miami Metro.
Yeah.
There's a bot, like
oh
something
my God,
like.
I forgot about that.
Well,
yeah.
Something to
He
your
gets in
point.
the elevator, and then Nookie Thompson's muddy footprints are leading into it too. And they
Yes,
each other.
You know, when you're reading, like you said, you're reading the comments about season 8. There's so many people who like the Zach character. I realized this episode why I never. First of all, the show doesn't let you care about him, but secondly, you never see him in action. Meaning, you never see him do the kill. You never see him get that angry. You just see him like horny, like you said. This was your video or somewhere else. I saw like he's horny to kill, but you don't see it. You don't see anything else besides that. You just know he wants to. You know he's going to Vogel. He's very impatient with Dexter, but you don't see anything like. And it's why like I never cared about Zach. I forget a lot of the times about Zach.
Yeah, and I think I gave him a hard time because. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead first, Colton.
Well, I was just because I'm one of the people that likes him. Like, I actually like the character, but I think it's more like granted, they could have done a lot more. Like, I actually think that, again, that would have been funny had they shown like the character where he's like slipping around in blood or something like that. Like, it would have been funny. Like, it was like, okay, like he knocks somebody over the head. The guy's like kind of droozing. He's like, oh shit, it didn't work like the movies, and he has to hit him over the head like a couple more times or something like that. You show like his first kill that would have added this whole other aspect to the character. I think that what I like about the character is the possibility of what he was, not necessarily what the actual character is in the show. And that's what I liked is like they let this opportunity where it's like, look, we've got this cool character that we can kind of show Dexter, you know, in making essentially because this isn't Michael C. Hall with a shitty wig on. This is actually like a younger guy. It would have been great. Like, this is cool. He's wearing the Dexter like kill outfit. If you notice, he's got the tan outfit, like the shirt on and stuff like that. They wasted that opportunity, and that's what I guess kind of in a way makes me like the character even more is because it was a wasted opportunity in the show.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that, and I also think maybe I didn't give him a fair shake. I only call him twerp in my video the whole time. But I don't think I gave him an entirely fair shake because there is like the kernel of the idea is maybe not terrible, and I don't want people to think like, oh, why isn't Dexter funny? Fall down, go boom. Like it's like no, but think about. Imagine a scene like like not odd job, random task in Austin Powers, like throwing the shoe at Austin Powers and just hits him. Who throws the shoe? Like imagine Zach, like rolling up on this guy, and we get a 30-second scene of that where he whacks over the head, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah,
just like Zach just like starts beating him more. You could like, and I don't want people to be like, "Oh, it has to be a comedy show," but it's like think about Dexter's first kill, which we saw, where it's like scary movie where he's like chasing her around the table. So it's very awkward, and it's like that kind of stuff is fun. Same as Miguel Prado showing up dressed as the Unabomber the first time they go out on the stakeout. Like that stuff's fun. And Dexter is sometimes when I see the people who are very critical of like of all the show and they like it was never good, they kind of like think like the tone should have always been just the last 5 minutes of season 4. Like Dexter was a super dark show, and it's like no, Dexter was always a fun show. It's always a very fun show, very playful.
It was meant to be campy.
Yeah, and it's like that's when it's really thriving. It's when it's doing stuff like that. So it's like I mean,
Well, but-
let's see that.
And also, I mean, to also add in, I'd forgotten about this. Part of the thing I also liked with what Zach was even explaining in this, because Dexter even said something along the lines, is like, what were you going to do at the bar? And if I'm not, this is if I'm not mistaken on this, he was saying, well, I was going to put the body in the Everglades. That's also like kind of a reference to Dexter, because before Dexter got the boat, if I remember right, that's like what it was theorized, like in people that like do like really deep into the books and stuff like that, is he would dispose of the bodies in the Everglades.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't obviously always had the boat.
That's
So
what they
I was
do
like,
with,
well, that's.
it's what they do with the drug dealers who come to kill him and Dokes.
In season
Oh
2,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's kind of cool. Like they're making him that
He's
character.
figuring it out the same way Dexter figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Something that I don't think we talked about yet regarding this episode, and I guess part of this season, and I was bringing it up last episode, where something that like really bugged me this episode, and like as you know, you're talking out the tailspin of this season. Deb has a crazy hard on. I want Hannah, and I want her fucking arrested. Yes, I'm gonna bring it to Elway. I'm really gonna fucking do this. She gets talked out of it when she gets in the room. And I just don't feel like whether...
Of course, like 2 minutes.
Well, like, what was stronger? What Deb's hatred was for Hannah? And think about it. She's the one who tried to get killed. Like, you know, fuck Dexter. Like, this woman would end your life. So, like, what was stronger? Deb's hatred, well, out of her fear of safety, like, and everything? Or, like, what Hannah said in the room? And what Hannah said in the room is just, like... I just can't believe she, like, throws the cuffs and she's like... Oh, you know what? You're right. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm out. Like we're talking about a fugitive. We're talking about bringing the case to Elway. You know, he's a private investigator. And I think when you just diffuse, when you have something what you think, and again, this has happened so many times by this point that we know the drill, but when you finally like get those two in a room and it's just diffused just like that, it's like, wow, this fucking really sucks. And again, this is like the second time around because they did this at the end of season 7. You know,
Well, they did it with Deb too, and that's it compounds that problem where it's like Deb tried to kill Dexter like 3 episodes ago.
Yes.
And herself. And it's like you'd think that like when trying to rebuild trust, like him fucking Hannah McKay would be a giant like breach of that.
Right.
And on a more like, so that was what annoyed me about this. In addition to her just being like, I rolled a nat 20 on speech, so I win. I don't put the handcuffs on, and you leave now. But more annoying to me that I didn't notice it until this time. I'm just like, Deb like is a gym rat, and she's a trained police officer. She's a tomboy. I don't see the character of Deb not just smashing Hannah's head through the drywall
And doing it
throwing
herself?
the cuffs on her.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't see her being like, put the handcuffs on, and if you love Dexter too much, then I guess never mind. I mean, it's just...
She shows up with the rage, where, to your point, like, yes, that's taking it a step further that I didn't put my mind there, where it's like, if we were to be real, and the way the Deb character you think it is, right, she comes in that room with a gun to her head, put these fucking handcuffs on. She gets talked out of the rage, but yes, in the moment when she gets there, like, yeah. And they even, this is what drives me crazy, the more I think about it, they even set it up where it's like, even if Hannah talks, no one's going to take her serious. So she goes in there with all the proverbial ammo to fucking do it, and they just fucking shit the bed, and it's like, yep, and we're going to be quirky. Oh my God, you got 2 hot girls?
Oh God, yeah, and that's another, that brings me back. I hadn't even thought about this, but I'm really nice, man. Oh God.
Wait, good.
And it's his sister and Hannah McKay, the 2 women I most never want to see a main character date in the world. Oh my God. But that reminds me, it's such a bizarre conclusion, knowing where the season goes, that they have a whole scene that just talks like complete sense to Dexter. It's just like, this woman is going to screw you over. She's a murderer. She's manipulating you. She's trying to get you to do shit for her. And then it's like, the series will go on to prove that she's like wrong. It's like, no, Hannah actually does love Dexter, and they're gonna run off and be happy together. It's like, so why did you include that? It's like,
sorry, but,
Oh
but
my
no,
God.
but mind you, 2 seconds ago she's just telling Deb, "Oh well, if you arrest me, I'm going to tell the world who Dexter is."
Yeah.
Okay, so does she really love the guy or not? I don't know.
Right.
Uh,
It's to your point what you were saying, Slip, and like I had this on my notes, and again, I've been realizing this a lot more like last episode and this episode. Once you're at the dinner scene, right, you have like the whole happy family. You have Dexter, you have Hannah, you have Zach. You know, they're doing this thing, the spiritual mother, spiritual father, right? A few seconds later, that idea gets nuked because Zach is dead. So it's at that moment, and when you think about like, we have 4 episodes left of. There's been 92 episodes. We have 4 episodes left to tell the Dexter story. What's the point of where we are? Like,
Yeah.
there's 4 episodes left, and there's not. I think we've talked about it so many times. There's no direction.
I don't think we're worried about what the point is of where we are. I think the question is, are we there yet?
Damn it! So good.
You guys keep talking. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
okay,
Go ahead.
no. So I wanted to. Okay, I'm actually glad. So I wanted to nitpick on this part because we're right here where Zach dies, right? So my whole thing on this whole process of it, and this works in with what we were just talking about with carrying the body. Like that was Dexter's whole thing. Well, how can you carry the body into the car, out of the car? And stuff like that?
God! I didn't
So
even think
he-
about this. Yes.
How does Zach's body get in Dexter's apartment? How does this happen? How does this happen? And not only that, he has a cell phone hooked up playing Mama Cass over here. So we have a cell phone. We have Zach's body just sitting there. It makes no fucking sense that nobody saw this happen.
And then when you think about too, like we got a second floor, and
That's why he's got to get
and
everything.
and I think they
All the way down the hallway, all the way down the fucking hallway, just slowly carrying him. Like,
and they showed one of the episodes where he kind of has like a lair. I think we see it. I think towards the end of this season that he has like a lair to do this. So that means he captured him, took him to his lair, performed this brain surgery where there'd be massive amounts of blood everywhere. It dropped him off neatly into Dexter's apartment and left. Wait, I gotta go back. I gotta play. Yes, I gotta pose him.
Pose him neatly.
So
in this
that when
chair.
Dexter comes in, he has to rotate it ever so slightly for dramatic effect. Yes.
And I've got my cell phone on loop for Mama Cass.
Yeah, whose phone
The
was that, by
only
the way?
thing- Yeah, because it was somebody's phone playing the sound. The only thing missing was that they didn't try to make him look like he died from eating a ham sandwich, as Mama Cass did supposedly. So
Is that how she
that
died?
was the only thing. So that was the urban legend that she
Oh.
died choking on a ham sandwich. So
Okay, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm back. I don't know. I'm up. I'm lost, but I'm annoyed about the Mama Cass song being "Make Your Own Kind of Music," because apparently in Lost, in the second season, it's like the exact same way. Ominous
really?
thing that the villain is going to show up, and I'm like,
I've actually never seen Lost.
I haven't
so
seen it either, but
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I've heard people saying. It's like, why did they use that exact? It's like making a horror movie and making Tiptoe Through the Woods, like the villain song. It's like they did that in Insidious. Like it's the same. It's the exact same thing.
That song's
I-
in
I
Insidious?
mentioned that. Insidious or the one where the villain looks like Darth Maul?
Yeah, that's Insidious. I don't remember that song.
Yeah, like Tiptoe Through the Woods.
Oh, that.
Tiny
Okay,
Tim.
not yes. I thought it was.
No, not the Mama Cass song.
Gotcha,
no.
gotcha. Yes. That's the tiptoe
No,
around
we
the
were-
thing.
Yeah, while you were gone, we were talking about how did the killer get Zach into Dexter's apartment with nobody noticing when Dexter made such a big deal about people seeing dead bodies getting towed in and out of cars. So we
Yeah.
completely have a contradiction in this entire
Outside
episode.
of, next door to a crime scene.
yeah, it was where he just
people
murdered
died in-
somebody.
I think it's like there's
God, yeah.
there's
I
a
didn't think
Sal
about that
Sal
apartment complex.
Sal Price died in his apartment, and then Cassie, and nobody is like, Dexter, a lot of weird stuff happens around you. One other thing I wanted to
Two
bring up.
apartments.
And Oliver Saxon's gonna buy it, so it's like Dexter leaves and Oliver Saxon stays there. Weird shit's just gonna keep happening if Dexter didn't kill him.
One thing,
One
I wanted to bring up, and then I'll let you go.
They're probably just like, oh, there's Cassie, and he's brought another guy over. There's something weird about his haircut, though. Like dyed pink on the back.
It's like a melon cut. Deb, I don't know if you guys saw this or it's just like it's something that I'm not supposed to read into. I don't understand the turn that Deb makes from being like working for Elway to wanting to go back to Miami. Is it just like she's had enough? I don't know. I don't know actually.
I genuinely think it's this. They were like, she's on Team Hannah now, so she can't be working for the opposition, so she's got to drop out. I think that's just as far as it goes.
But isn't
I
like the
can nip
cops
this
also opposition? Like I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. It's just like
no, the cops are like the pee-wee like football team that like plays next door that doesn't affect anything. No, but I was thinking, and I mean, she's presumably, oh my God, poor Deb. She used to be lieutenant. She's gonna be back in her whore outfits tomorrow when she comes back to the police force. No,
She's gonna come right back as a detective because that's how that works apparently.
She just comes back as a detective and dies instantly. No, but oh my God. I was sorry. I was thinking about when he mentioned that, like, his head was cut. I was just imagining, like, they should have teased Saxon early on with Cassie. He should have been, like, having a dinner party with Dexter, and he goes, like, someone pass me the melon baller. And, like, that's, like, our
Oh my
tease
God.
one.
Her name's Cassie, and it was Mama Cassie.
Oh,
And we're connecting
God.
even more on that
Oh
one.
my God, it just keeps going better. He just wants his mama. That's all the brain surgeon wants is his mama.
We now have explained this. The writers of the show were actually deeper than we ever anticipated.
Oh my God, they were. Actually, that's something I was going to mention when I was talking about Vogel. Vogel being the brain surgeon, which was speculation when the show first aired.
right.
I was going to say kind of like having faith in the writers makes some of the seasons better. Because if you think maybe Vogel is, maybe Vogel isn't, like that kind of adds a bit of complexity to her relationship with Dexter. But if you've seen it before or you're cynical about it, then you're like, no, I know the point of the Vogel character. The point of the Vogel character is fix Deb relationship and then die so Dexter has motivation. And more frustrating than that, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there's like an element to Vogel where when she's talking almost all the time, unless it's with like a murderer and she's trying to like escape them. When she's talking to Dexter or Hannah or Zach or Deb, I don't feel like she's talking to the character. I feel like she's talking to me.
like she's doing exposition to the viewer.
Yeah. And this scene was like one of the
Okay.
few breaks from that, where it's like she's kind of talking about her work and it's like, oh, it keeps me interesting. But it's like even that it broaches into the thing where she's like, well, and now that I've analyzed Dexter and Hannah, I can confirm that they are a good couple, but it might lead to disaster. And it's like the theater and pathologic that predicts whatever Vogel says is just gonna happen. Yeah, she's doing all the stuff where she's like, Dexter's a perfect psychopath, and he's so awesome and great and stuff. I'm like, you're not talking to Dexter. You're telling me I'm supposed to be like, oh, Dexter, things don't seem to be going hot for him. Oh, no. Dexter's not the problem. Deb is the problem. Thank you, Vogel, for explaining it. And then Deb shows up and she's like, Deb, you're the problem, and work on this. And then she does, and it's like, okay. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how many times. Just factor that in the next time you're watching a Vogel scene that isn't with Saxon or the toe guy. Clinton.
The toe guy. No, I get, yeah, I could see it. I'm trying to like recall specific scenes, but I could totally see it's like, yeah,
And
just
that dinner scene.
oh God,
My God.
the
The most awkward part to me, and I laughed out loud again at the gym watching it, was her saying, will you invite Hannah in or should I invite her in? And then you think, okay, editing perspective. She says that and it's like, you bested Dexter, cut to them all at the table. And instead Dexter like sheepishly walks down her giant driveway to the car, opens the door, and we don't hear what he says. We just see him lean into the car.
and walks
and then, like,
over.
She comes out, they walk all the way back up. And I'm like, the only reason you would include this is if like they have a great one-liner when she meets Vogel. And it's like, we couldn't cut the awkward walk.
Right.
We had to have the one-liner, so it's like, keep that. And they just get there and he just goes like, Hannah, this is Dr. Vogel. And then it cuts to them in the kitchen. And I was like, I was baffled. I just started cracking up because I was like, I just cut. Oh my God. Just cut as soon as he's like oh, you got him. He has to go get her now. And then like cut to them at the table. Oh, it made it so much worse because that scene is already really awkward.
I think, and it's like more to your point, I know how clever the writers think they are when they're doing the "Are we there yet?" with like the family of killers. They're driving up in the car and even like at the table. So I think like the
Drinking red wine like it's blood. Like, okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry, I had to
all
put
of it,
that
all
in
of it,
there.
right? So I think the
Oh my God,
writers.
and Michael C. Hall looks like he doesn't want a beer so much. I was waiting for him to just like suck down the glass, like the red wine. I'm sure you saw it on his face. Like, I was waiting for him to just grab that glass of wine and just like slam it in like one go.
But I think
Oh
you're
my God,
right.
sorry, go
It's
on.
no, it's like you're right. It's like they're trying to make Vogel be the mother, and Dexter has to. I think to your point, they make Dexter do the walk as if. See, I think what you're saying is like yes, like you cut this for like purposes' sake.
So
But I
awkward.
think what they were trying, and they know they're so cheeky and clever because the episode title and like the kid, you know, and Zaxxon perfectly in the back seat. I think that's showing. This never crossed my mind until you brought it up. They're showing Dexter be the little child walking to the car and walking back the same way
Yeah.
a mother would be like,
Yeah,
now go tell your friend no, or invite like yeah.
go bring your friend Hannah inside. She's invited for dinner.
yeah.
She's a nice young poisoner.
If they didn't do all that other little shit that they're a little family, I wouldn't like think twice of it. But it's like they fucking know. They think they're
Well-
being so cute about everything, and it's just
There's
it's fucking dumb.
They should. I didn't understand. I didn't understand the parallel. I think what they should have done is when they were driving and Zach says, "Are we there yet?" Ghost Harry should have been sitting next to him. And he should have said, "Dexter, tell him that we're not there yet."
Because we're not there
But
yet.
But there's even stupid, like in their dinner and stuff like that, that I was getting like stupidly annoyed by the little things that they were doing. Like, what is it that the Vogel even says? Oh, I'm assuming we don't have any vegetarians among us. What the fuck? Why
Why
didn't you even
not?
say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler was a vegetarian. Like, why
I
can't
mean,
we say something
he's,
like
he's
that?
not Hannibal Lecter. I mean, she's probably just like all my other patients fucking ate people out of their crock pots. So
I just didn't understand that whole thing. I was like, why even say that? Like,
I mean, the Dexter universe is.
I used too much red wine in this. That there, yeah, you did use too much red wine. Well, bitch, you cooked the next meal.
Yeah, we're pairing red wine with like red wine potatoes. What the hell is that? I don't know.
I
if
think
I've
it's
ever had a
shepherd's
dish
pie,
like
which,
that.
by the way, is an amazing dish. I love shepherd's pie,
Oh,
but
yeah, my fiance loves that. No, but I'm just kind of in awe. Like the Dexter universe is basically just like people who are the worst in their profession.
Yeah.
It's like all of Miami Metro, and then like they're in awe of how good Dexter is. Like he's like creating technicalities. He must be like really bad at this. And then Vogel is like, here's my list of patients. They're all murderers now.
Yeah. And I've
They've
experimented
all
on
killed
all of
exactly-
them.
they've all killed exactly everybody. So just like
Yeah.
no.
What if when Vogel started talking about like, you know, like, there's a point where Hannah's like, hey, what made you get into this line of work or whatever, and what if, and she kind of says something like, oh, that's something I don't want to bore you with. What if she started explaining it and then Dexter leans over and just goes,
Shut up, cunt.
I was trying to cap the episode there.
Oh my god. That should have been like I wanted to say that so many times at the dinner party. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You just
Can't
made me
top
think of
that.
a funny edit that anytime like a bad edit, what is that? Like the way Chinese movies used to be where they're talking. Anytime a male speaks, it says that. Do you guys have anything else?
There you go, Dexter, you seem awfully quiet. Why haven't you talked today at the dinner party?
Shut up, cunt.
Oh, I do actually have something. I do have one other thing,
Go ahead.
which is I don't know if you are able to pull up the video. Let me get my notes here. Oh my god, but I just had a note. I wanted to congratulate. I don't know if you guys know that this episode of Dexter actually won an award from the costuming department for worst costumes ever. And if you go to 18 minutes exactly, if you're watching on Amazon Prime, you'll see our good old friend P.I. Elway standing on the dock with Deb wearing what in God's name are those sunglasses?
18 minutes
I don't know if
exactly.
either of you guys noticed it.
That was like early 2000s. I'm a high school football coach in Texas. That was those sunglasses.
They're the worst sunglasses I've ever seen in my entire life. And he's supposed to be like giving this stern impression. And it's like he might as well be wearing like the glasses that come with a nose and a mustache. They are
That's-
so comical.
I graduated high school in 2004, and that literally looked like every single pair of sunglasses that my coaches wore, and I thought they were the coolest thing ever. Mind you, this came out in what 2013.
This is 2013. Yeah, so 10 years late.
I have it on the stream. This looks like the glasses you wore. Do you guys are you guys young enough or old enough to remember the Coolio glasses?
I don't remember them. I mean, me and me are the same age, but I don't remember.
I remember there
I
was a
was a
specific.
tiny child in the 90s.
You said Coolio sunglasses? I'm
Yeah,
gonna look 'em up
this is
really
what it
quick.
reminds me of. You know what? Didn't even over my head about all of this. Those are something.
But he has, yeah, I see that. He has this
Wow.
look, like he has this sassy look right at like 18 minutes too, and it's like you shouldn't be giving anyone that look, Elway. You look like the biggest dork in the fucking world. I just thought I'd point that out. That
No,
it was something that
It's worthy.
I
It's worthy.
I was like, wait. It was like the computer, like scroll back and enhance. Like, did I just see what I thought I saw? How did I
Enhance.
watch this whole scene and not notice multiple times?
But we still haven't even talked about the most important storyline of the entire episode.
Oh
Even
man.
Oh my, Masuka's daughter.
I was gonna say, Masuka's daughter burns some sage in the fucking room. Was exactly my exact notes.
Slip. Thank you
Okay,
so
now we
much for
can-
joining
now we
us.
can end.
Yes.
I was just disappointed because it's like it became a meme that it's like they didn't want you to sympathize with Captain Matthews because he was a rival to LaGuerta. So they just like randomly make him say racist stuff. So I was just like hoping like after she's gone, like just literally every line would have like he'd be like Pierce from Community, where just like every line is like casually racist. And I was like, oh god, what's Matthews gonna say about like burning incense? He's got a line for it or something, and then it's not even anything clever or something. He just looks at Masuka and he's like, get your fucking daughter out of here. Oh my god. But don't worry, that episode's gonna that plot line's gonna pay off big time.
I can't wait to
Okay,
talk about that.
Before I
ending.
leave, I have a challenge for you guys going forward.
Awesome.
I have two challenges actually. One is I compare, and I know you guys brought this up too, how similar he is to the Ice Truck Killer. There's a moment I didn't include in my video that is appallingly similar to the Ice Truck Killer investigation. So I just want you to keep an eye out for it. It's in the second to last episode of the season. So keep an eye out for that. There's gonna be a moment, and I want you to be like, "Wow, this is exactly like a scene I've seen before." And trust me, you'll know it when it happens.
Okay.
And then the other thing I want you to keep track of, which I did in my video, it was gonna have a joke in it. I didn't realize until after I'd done the rewatch. I was like, "Oh my god!" Dexter says, "I have to kill Saxon before I leave town," and he explains that to the audience so many times. And I was like, I want to include a joke where I clip all the times he says it together. And I got like 5, but that was just like scrubbing through for like 10 minutes.
So you want to beat
I
that?
didn't do like a deep dive and rewatch them. I just want you to like do a countdown of like how many times they say it when we find out the name Saxon.
Okay.
Just how many times does he say it? Does someone else say, but Dexter, you have to kill Saxon and then you leave town? Because there's no reason you should have to. Oh my god. But yeah, I wanted to see if you could like get a tally, an accurate tally of how many times.
That's like
characters say
someone
that.
out
You did do
there.
a really good job on that actually on your video. You did a really good job on that part of it. I remember that. Yeah.
I was glad I was able to find somebody because I'm like, I'm not rewatching all these episodes again. So he's Saxon is only really in 4 episodes.
Yeah,
and I
right.
was still like, nope.
Yeah.
Oh god, is next episode the one with the? Do you remember if next episode is the one with the footage, the digital?
The face changing
Yeah.
software. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
this is the next
awesome.
episode. Because I looked for the next episode because I thought it was a plot hole, but it isn't real. I thought they find Saxon's head in Zach's apartment. I thought from I was like, wait, they found it in Dexter's apartment. So Zach got his head sawed open and then planted hair on the desk. And I was like, no, I might be wrong. I got to watch the next episode. I'm like, no, he got abducted at Zach's place. It all checks out. I was a fool to question the
Miami Metro.
cleverness
And
of
then,
the
he carried,
writers.
and then he carried him to Dexter's apartment.
Yeah. He was like, I held on. I kept my heart beating, but I played dead, and then I stuck the hair on it last moment, right as my brain gave out. Yeah,
Slip.
but yeah, so that's my challenge for you guys.
Yes, I
Keep
love
a
it.
count, and then whatever happens in the second to last episode, I'm going to be listening, and I want you guys to go, oh my
Oh
God.
my slip.
That was exactly like what happened with the ice truck killer.
Slip, plug your stuff, please. We very much
You can
appreciate
find
it.
me as Slip Maker on YouTube, or just type in Dexter retrospective, Boardwalk Empire retrospective, and I'll show up nice and quick.
Yes, I have to watch.
And to
the
anyone,
Boardwalk.
any of my fans following, of course,
Yeah,
follow
you have a
Digging Dead podcast.
you have a lot of people here in the chat, and they are whoever your friends are here. That's pretty funny.
Shoot their mouth.
Yeah, they're funny. They're funny as shit.
Check the live chat. I haven't had it up with me, but I'm sure they're.
I usually try to be
time.
interactive, and they are making me realize I don't want a chat to be interactive because there is just too much. I'm trying to like talk to you guys and trying to do this. Only when Slip talks, my internet drops, and it's like, fuck, this is so much. I'm so glad they're just making fun of everything.
I'm so proud of them.
yeah. If they were my friends, I'd be proud of them. Yes.
Oh, bless their hearts. Okay, well, thanks for having me, guys. And don't be a
Well, thank
stranger. I mean, if you need meat in the room when new blood comes, I'll happily join up with you guys.
All right.
Or when you get to remember the monsters.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Slip, don't X out of Zencaster.
Okay.
Because that's what I
I'm
need
not.
to upload, and I think this is going to take a little bit because I've never
We
done
did
this
go on
long.
for a little bit.
It's
We're getting into my Boardwalk Empire podcast.
I just ended it right
Nice.
there. I'm gonna edit where somewhere along the way. Bye. I'm gonna
Okay.
edit it like a someone falling off a treadmill. No, I stopped recording. The stream is still live, but I just need both of you, Slip and Colton, to keep up with Zedcaster.
Gotcha.
I have to go pee and stuff, so if you're signing off, Slip, thank you so much. I really
Thanks for
appreciate
having me.
it.
I had a great time.
I'm sweating because I had to pee this entire time. I didn't want to get up. I've had to turn the AC on in my house. I'm sweating here.
I'm sweating just because my room, like when I have the door closed, gets so hot. And
So you're
I don't
in-
know
What's
why it does
Arizona
that.
right now?
Arizona, I mean,
130.
it's 94,
Oh God!
and it's 9 at night.
I thought it gets cold there. Am I an idiot? At
No,
night?
it doesn't.
At
get
night?
cold. No, the night's super hot still. I've annoyed my fiance before by saying I believe people lived here before air conditioning. It's all a conspiracy.
I did too. I thought that was super cool.
Like the air, and I'm like, nope, never happened. It's all bullshit. No, it doesn't. It doesn't get cold. And now it
Huh.
used to get cold, kind of like around like now it just never gets cold. It's like
There's just asphalt everywhere.
it is all asphalt too. Oh my god, it's so brutal out. Okay, I'm gonna head out though, but thank you guys.
Yes.
I had a
Just
ton
don't
of fun.
don't close in, Caster. Thank you so much, Slip.
I'm not gonna close anything. I'm just gonna leave it up
Thank you.
until
Thank you. And
message me on Reddit when you're
All right,
ready
thanks
for
a
me
lot.
to close.
all
it.
your homies on the
Have
chat.
fun.
Thank you guys too.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Have a good one, guys.
See you later,
All
Slip.
right. Later.
Roxanne just joined the chat. I'm gonna end the stream. This is funny. I'm gonna end the stream, Colton. So we're all good.
Yep, we're all good. That was fun.
Yes, we'll talk. I can't believe how draining
All right,
this
man.
was. Yeah, I'm like frazzled. All right,
All right, man.
later, guys.
Later.
Later.